meticulously written for April 13th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Since our first item is a discussion, there's no reason not to jump right in. I'm assuming we're not going to see Phil.
I checked in with him today. He's not going to be.
Great. Okay. So we went to the site. I know that Jess annotated some meeting notes from our discussion with Greg. Was it Greg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, the new homeowner. The long and the short of it is that the backyard was extended beyond where it was supposed to be. Replication wasn't done. The present location of the shed is such that the shed is definitely falling apart, but it's a good stopping spot for where the work should happen. We pointed out to him that in front of that there was an area that he was just as happy not to mow, and we said we would cut off at that spot. Would provide the best protection for that area. Thank you. So, yeah, from the right of the shed, there was a clear line where the grass really isn't grass. It's mostly a combination of moss and some sort of perennial. We talked about replacing the shed when it comes time to move it farther away. Talked about putting a boulder line across, and he was on the same plan with us. So at this time, one of the things we were talking about, I saw in the email here, so Jess sent this to you, Brian. I wanted to see the square footage numbers of the intended replication area.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent those to you that day.
Okay, it was a reply to this? Okay.
Like 750 square feet.
Okay.
So
I wouldn't think we would have gotten 750 feet back there.
No.
You sure it was 750?
that's my memory.
Right. So the only question was, where do we go from here? So clearly, the folks who have moved in the house didn't do anything wrong. The folks who lived in the house before them clearly weren't aware of what was supposed to happen. It looks like it was work that was done some time ago. And so the idea was to establish the boulder line and let it go from there. Homeowner was willing to accept that. I didn't know you just fired for your computer.
Oh, no, that's just.
Oh, so I didn't know if you could find the email.
No, I'm actually going to the source. Yeah. I don't know to pass that down.
Thank you. Determined that 690 square feet of wetland was impacted. We're proposing a 700 square foot replication area. So based on what they have done and what would make clear sense, we established where the boulder line would go. It would probably encompass about 400 square feet at the most, somewhere between 200 and 400 square feet, depending upon where the original line was drawn. So that was what we came up with as a good way to move forward.
Okay.
So
So the question then is, who actually does the work? Attorney Iliopoulos said there was a escrow account, or they put something in.
right, and all we were talking about was a boulder line.
Right. So question is, who do we task with that responsibility?
Well, so why don't we do this, Brian? Why don't we reach back out to Attorney Iliopoulos, let him know that we walked it, we established an area, and that what we're looking for is a boulder line.
And do we want to have any suggestions on relative size?
Well, that's true. We did use the word boulder. I guess at that point, I'd be open to suggestions from the homeowner.
And are we doing this as still friendly, or I'm not doing any paperwork?
No, we would just do it as friendly. I guess the idea would be that they're probably looking for a
Right.
certificate of compliance.
Okay.
So Why don't we get back to him, say that we've met with the new owners, we've established a approximate area for a boulder line, and that if he goes ahead and can complete that.
And you'd be content with a 400 square foot cutoff on the yard?
Yeah, I guess the way I would put it is that there's an area of the yard that is clearly stays wet a lot of the year.
Yeah.
And if they box off that area, at this point, there's just not a whole lot of lawn after that to take without moving the shed and other things.
Yeah, as I recall, if you look at the shed, that front right corner, it sort of goes diagonally across to a big tree, and beyond that, it's largely moss.
Right.
So
If
it's
you were
pretty
standing there,
visual.
it's easy to say, this is the spot.
So Attorney Iliopoulos should
Yeah, so we should
implement that.
notify Mr. Iliopoulos, Attorney Iliopoulos, and that if they can go ahead and put the boulder line in. If they have further questions, we can certainly walk the site again, but anyone who is out there on site would be able to tell. Easy stuff. Okay. Any further on that? Next up,
Oh, so when we get confirmation of that, then we can revisit and do the certificate of compliance?
Right.
Okay. So you should make sure to contact us when it's done.
We can pull that off the agenda until that shows up, because it's been here since January.
all right, next item on here was Mr. Angus Neal.
Neil Angus?
The comma
Oh.
is left out.
Common mistake. Everyone thinks my first name is Neil. Neil Angus.
It's Neil Angus?
Yes.
I swear that it says Angus Neal. My apologies, Mr. Angus. Would you like to join us?
Sure.
That would be me. You can
So thanks for having me here. I'm Neil Angus with the Devon's Enterprise Commission. I'm an environmental planner with the Devon's Enterprise Commission. You all did receive a letter last meeting, and I think a copy of a map of a approximately 13.1 acre parcel that the Devon's Enterprise Commission, acting as the local conservation commission in the Devon's Regional Enterprise Zone, is looking at placing a conservation restriction on. This 13 acre parcel is bordering Grove Pond, so it's protecting a significant amount of the shore. It would be protecting a significant amount of the shoreline of Grove Pond. It does also contain Devon's well fields for our drinking water wells. It also contains the town of, or it's directly adjacent to the town of Ayer wells off of Grove Pond. So as part of our 2008-2013 Open Space and Recreation Plan, we identified over 1,400 acres of land that needed to be protected, permanently protected throughout Devon's. We're almost there. We've almost protected almost all 1,400 acres. This is one of the last parcels. There's 2 remaining parcels that we haven't disposed of yet, and that is this 13 acre parcel on Grove Pond and another portion of Willow Brook, which is a small tributary of Robbins Pond that runs through Devon's and eventually drains into the Nashua River.
Right.
So what we ask for, or what we typically do when we accept a conservation easement, is we look at what the underlying town is, and we approach that underlying town to let them know that we are putting a conservation easement on this land, and we ask that, if, the Devon's Regional Enterprise Zone has legislation that governs it until 2033. Once the Devon's Enterprise Commission is no more, it may revert to, if it becomes the town of Devon's, it may revert to them.
Sure.
It may revert back to the underlying towns. We don't know what's going to happen. So as a courtesy, we approach the underlying town's conservation commission and ask them, present to them the property and see if they would like to be named as a possible agency that the piece of land would go to should the Devon's Enterprise Commission ever be abolished. You guys could have the right of first refusal for the land. There's no obligation for you to take it, but we just would like to name the Ayer Conservation Commission in the conservation restriction as having the first right of refusal should anything ever happen to the Devon's Enterprise Commission in the future. So Brian just pulled up the map of the area. So the road in the bottom right-hand corner is Barnum Road. The thick red line you see across Barnum Road is the Devon's Regional Enterprise Zone boundary. So everything north of that is in Ayer. Everything south is in Devon's. The parcel is hatched there. Currently we have emergency access to the parcel, but it's through the military, an active military site on Barnum Road. So we don't really have access to it because they don't let us in. So we did walk the parcel with your DPW director and had talked about a memorandum of agreement with DPW to access this parcel for our annual monitoring requirements that would be required under the CR. So that's the orange line you see there going in through the town of Ayer well access road. There's a footpath that goes all the way through there. We wouldn't need vehicular access. We would just need foot access. That would allow us free annual inspection, free passage to annual inspections. We do have a well field there, so there is access if it's needed. Those wells are inactive right now, so we haven't exercised the need for that access a lot. So if and when we do protect this parcel, we would be looking to enter into an agreement with Ayer DPW for access. And I don't believe there was any concern with that foot access. So we're grateful for that. But I just came here to present it to you guys and see if you had any questions or concerns, and if you were acceptable to being named in the conservation restriction as a party that could have the right of first refusal. I did send you copies of the draft conservation restriction last meeting too, and the text that would include the town of Ayer basically just says, if the premises revert back to the original municipal jurisdiction, the assignment of this conservation restriction shall first be offered to the town of Ayer Conservation Commission. If the local conservation commission is unable or unwilling to hold the restriction, the grantor, which is Mass Development, who owns the land, shall secure a suitable entity to hold or co-hold the conservation restriction. So absolutely no obligation for you guys. We did this with you a few years ago on Shepley's Hill, the forested part of Shepley's Hill, not the inactive landfill. The Devon's Enterprise Commission took a conservation easement over that. I think it's roughly 30 or 40 acres.
I was gonna say 40, I thought.
Of land, and the exact same language was put in that CR. And Peter Lowett, the director of the Devon's Enterprise Commission, did come before you at a meeting to pretty much request the same thing. So,
Well, it's very exciting. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
No.
No.
I just have a question. This area here, which is bare,
yes.
can you describe that region? What is that region?
So that is actually it's a low-lying area. There's a little bit of there's probably about a 10. Oh, can you just refresh that? There's probably about a 10-foot drop between the upper level and the wooded area you see there. There's probably about a 10 to 15-foot drop,
Really?
And that's a small plateau lower than the elevation of the upper area, closer to the road.
Uh-huh.
It was formerly used by the Army for storage,
Uh-huh.
and we requested they remove the materials that they were storing there because it is partially in a Zone 1.
Mm-hmm.
They obliged, and so it's kind of a regenerating field right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's an old aerial too, so it probably would come up with looking like there's a lot more vegetation there. It was probably back in 2009 maybe, this aerial. So be interesting if you looked at Google Maps today to see, a recent aerial that probably looks a little more grown in.
Right.
But we did have them move everything into that upper plateau, which is this is kind of the upper area, which is 10 to 15 feet higher than this area.
Mm.
So everything is stored up here. We actually even had them install water supply protection area signage here so that
Great.
there's always turnover in the Army so that people know they shouldn't be parking vehicles. So they move everything out one time, then the
Right.
new commander comes in and they says, put everything else back. So that's, and we also had them install a couple of new monitoring wells in that area as well to monitor all the runoff from the new development there, so that we can, proactively monitor any potential contamination into Grove Pond.
Have you done any water sampling since?
Every year we require the Army to do water sampling, and to date everything has been good.
Great.
The new development that they did they installed a tertiary treatment system for the stormwater, so it's a state-of-the-art
Wow.
stormwater treatment system, which they didn't have before. So the monitoring wells were kind of a belt and suspenders approach. It was just an extra added precautionary measure.
Well, especially that's their maintenance facility over there.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
They don't park the trucks there because they worked well.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, I don't know if any of the folks in the audience had any questions about it, but I'm certainly excited, Ms. Bedertha.
Where's Shepley's Hill on there?
Oh, not even close. So
Way off to the
way off
left.
over there, somewhere in the green of the window screen, far, far away.
And then how are the arsenic levels today?
I'm not aware of exactly what the arsenic levels are. I know they are monitoring that as part of the because of the leachate from the landfill, as well as the naturally occurring arsenic. But I don't know. There hasn't been any elevated levels in our monitoring that we've been requiring the Army to do on this side. So the monitoring that's done for arsenic is typically done on the other side. So.
Well, so I don't mess it up again. So Neil, this is great. We would certainly be very excited to be a signatory, and just let us know if there's anything that we can do to help.
If you guys could just make a motion to that effect so it's recorded in the minutes, that would be
Absolutely.
great. We also, as I mentioned, this is the second last parcel that we're
Right.
looking at protecting. The last parcel we're looking at protecting is that Willow Brook
Yeah, you were
channel
saying.
that I mentioned. And did I send you a copy of the map for Willow Brook?
Yeah.
Is that the daylighted stream portion?
It is, yes. Well, that's a portion of Willow
I
Brook.
saw it on the ad for the Riverwalk. I didn't go to.
If I could
Please do.
take a minute of your time just to show you that, because if you could agree to
I thought
have
you
your
were
name
gonna
on
drive
that
us
draft CR as well, that would be great. So we could kill two birds with one stone. The issue with that is that the county and town boundary runs right through the middle of a portion of Willow Brook, so Ayer would be the named on the half of the brook, and Harvard would be named on the other half. So it comes up there.
Did you say the county line goes through that too?
It's the county line is the town line between Harvard and Ayer. So it's that pivot one, F50 pivot.
There we go.
So that should probably be two separate motions and
I was going to say, so why don't we start by,
Okay,
great.
So yeah, just close that down. It's already open there behind you. And then Ayer CC meeting 427. Yeah.
We have Willowbrook CR location.
Willowbrook CR location. Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
So this is kind of in the center of Devens. To the right, you see those large buildings are our rail industrial park.
Right.
Pretty much where the small hand is there to the right is you're going towards the Grove Pond area. That open field area is Shepley's Hill landfill in the top there, just above Cook Street.
Yeah.
That forested area is actually Shepley's Hill, where the conservation restriction is currently right now. So Willow Brook is a channelized stream that drains from Robbins Pond in the center of Devens. The Willow Brook, the portion that was recently daylit, it was previously culverted, is right there. Yep, exactly. So that's actually in Harvard's portion. But Mass Development has finished that daylighting. They still have a little bit of work to do in terms of planting and complete stabilization. But once that all gets in place, we are going to be placing a conservation restriction on that entire corridor. So the lighter yellow area has not been touched. It's a forested corridor along the channel of Willow Brook. It abuts onto some residential areas in Devens on one side, and on the other side butts onto kind of the Jackson Road area, the Sweetheart Memorial area, and pretty much open space and fields all along the left side of Jackson Road there. So, but again, it does drain into, I always get this wrong,
Non-aquacious.
Non-aquacious brook, and eventually into the Nashua River. So significant water quality improvements as part of the daylighting project. Water from Jackson Road used to drain directly into Willow Brook, completely untreated.
Right.
Now it's fully treated, both through mechanical stormwater separators into sediment forebays and into a grass line channel that eventually overflows into Willow Brook. So huge improvement in water quality. And the plantings came in really nice on that daylighted portion. So now we'd like to protect it permanently. And once this one's done, that's it. We're done for...
How many acres in that one?
For this one?
Yeah.
It's approximate, I think it was like 14 acres total, linear. I don't know what the portion was in the Ayer portion per town, but I can certainly get you those numbers. But again, the exact same language we'd be looking to put in the conservation restriction, saying, the town of Ayer has first right of refusal.
It sounds fantastic. And it's true, the water quality has really improved. That channel always used to be, you could see all the sand moving through that came off the road, and looks way better every single morning.
Yeah, and it's been it's an intermittent stream,
Yeah.
but it has been flowing recently because of the significant rains, and the design of the daylighted channel is really nice. You can see like pool and riffle.
Yep.
They really did a nice stream structure to it. So
No trout, but it was still good.
no.
Okay, so I think we're all on the same page, and I believe we're all similarly excited about it. So I would accept a motion to accept the offer of Devens Enterprise Commission that we would be a signatory to the 13.1 acre CR for the property surrounding Grove Pond.
So moved.
Well, no, it wouldn't be a. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it wouldn't be a signatory. It would just be that you were named in the having the first
appreciate
right of refusal.
I approve your amendment.
Okay.
As long as you do.
Sure.
So, right of first refusal.
So is that like a fallback signatory? Or?
Yes, but don't take it personally. All in favor say aye. Aye. And then, as a second and separate motion, I would accept a motion to agree that the Air Conservation Commission would accept to be written as having a right of first refusal for Willow Brook for the portion of that stream that exists inside of Air's natural boundaries.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Neil, thank you very much. This
Great.
is
Thank
great
you.
stuff.
Appreciate your time.
Don't forget your thumb drive.
I won't. It's my keys to get my house.
There you go.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we have a continued public hearing, DEP file number 100-0402, Air DPW for the Community Dog Park. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Wetzel.
Thank you.
Okay. So when we last left, we had approved the project, and we were talking boilerplate order of conditions and any special conditions. Were there any issues or changes that came up?
I had just a couple of, they were minor things that I communicated with Brian on. It was more referring to, let's see if I can find them. It was referencing other sections that were the numbers just need to be corrected.
Oh,
There's like
okay.
one or two
And I tweaked
technical
them in
things.
the back.
Okay, so are they fixed in here?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
Other than that, all the content was fine.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So, Brian, you fixed them, so this is the final thing. Okay. Well, that's great. I don't really think we have any other questions then. Anyone have any thoughts or questions?
There was also, the DEP had asked about a stormwater management system narrative, so I did put a packet together, gave 2 copies to the agent. So that
Excellent.
included the narrative, the stormwater calculations that
Right.
were originally done for the entire project, because it encompasses a significant portion of Snake Hill Road.
Right.
Was the original design, and so we're going to be constructing the stormwater management for that whole piped system also. And then I also included an operation and maintenance plan for that.
And is that something you sent to Judy already? Or?
I haven't sent it yet, no. And I got to see if I can, I don't think I can email it, because I think it's too big.
That's too big.
It's only 105 pages of drainage calculations.
And that's too big?
Does Dan have to review that?
Okay.
No, it's technically already been approved. This is all of that stuff. So it's technically already been reviewed and approved. We went through it and looked to see if it made sense, but there's, like I said, it's for that whole area when they actually relocated Snake Hill Road.
Right.
So it encompasses a lot more than our little dog park.
Way more. Yeah, you've got a lot of hill on the way down there.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
from
fun fact.
2 places.
Going through the files this week, you know the very fine storage facility that's up off of Nemco? The big warehouse out there, the end of Nemco, before it turns into Wagon. What's the ones that go out?
Oh, okay. I know where that is. I didn't know
Yeah.
Very Fine was there.
Well, they were. on the
It
application.
was originally, yeah.
But they wanted to put that where the dog park is
Really?
in the late '80s,
Huh.
and they were going to reconstruct Snake Hill Road
Wow.
to get the warehouse. Anyway, never happened.
That would have been quite a deal. Yeah, because that road was a dirt road until 99, 2000, somewhere around there.
Oh, later than that.
Yeah, it was 2004 was when the original notice of intent
No,
was
that's
done.
probably true. Yeah, wow, it was, wasn't it? My goodness. Okay. Well, based on the fact that the order of conditions is now finalized, I would accept a motion to issue the final order of conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then, I would accept a motion to close the public hearing for DEP file number 100-0402.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if I may make an announcement, we are having a dog meet and greet at Peroni Park on Sunday, May 7th, 10 to
Sunday.
noon. So all you Ayer dog lovers, bring your dogs down. Be a chance for everybody to get to know each other.
On the 6th, huh?
7th.
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 The Sunday the 7th.
Ah. I'm putting that in. At Peroni Park. All right. Thank you very much. So that is all of our action on DEP file 100-0402. Let's reopen our public hearing for DEP file number 100-0401, where at our last meeting we were discussing the trials and tribulations of passing information back and forth with Natural Heritage.
Natural Heritage.
How'd
correct.
you make out?
I'm going to request a continuance of the public hearing because we have not gotten a response from Natural Heritage.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is
As
Misty
much
back?
as much as Dan has tried.
This is the part where my client would say, "Did you show up with roses?"
He actually showed up to meet with her, and she wasn't there.
Well, let's hope you brought the roses home. Okay, our next meeting is on May 11th. Does that seem overly optimistic, or are you good?
We'll shoot for it and
Okay.
see what we can find out.
I'll put it on the agenda until I get told they're not coming, because nothing new with that.
I mean, I'm not quite sure what the issue is. It's not a complicated project. We're directional drilling so that we don't disturb anything. And
You are preaching to the actual choir. The actual choir. I would accept a motion to continue public hearing for DEP file number 100-0401
2.
to time certain, May 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much and good luck with it. All right. We have, next is public hearing to be reopened for DEP file number 100-0400, Riley Jane Farm,
Is Nick Paul coming in?
I thought so.
7 Trevor Trail. Do you want to be a Nick stand-in? Just in case?
Yeah, what's going
You have
on?
to come all the way up front.
Is he planning, or did I misinterpret that he was going to be here, or we have nothing to talk about yet? You got nothing? Big open mouth. All right.
I was under the impression that there was to be an order of conditions, also a partial certificate of compliance. Maybe I
Got it
reversed.
in hand.
I
No.
reversed the order. I think the proper order would be the partial certificate of compliance followed by the order of conditions.
Well, it probably would be. Although we've reopened the public hearing.
Well, then here, I'll give you what I know at this point. At the end of the last meeting, we were stuck on that vegetative fence and the merry dancing bears and how to accomplish that task. And since then, I've incorporated it into the order of conditions. Nick is content with how the order of conditions is written. I've had a talk with Sean, the project manager out there, and we had a very similar discussion in terms of realities, liabilities, successful implementation and how that would work. They are trying to be the contractor for that homeowner. And so as of yesterday, in the afternoon, Sean, CJ, and Mr. D'Ambrosio theoretically all had a meeting to talk about this particular issue to see, how they would handle it. I haven't gone down the violation route, because I talked to Sean about that, and he goes, yeah, we can sort this out sort of internally. So I'm letting that play out. But as the conditions are written, it is simply stated that a COC, prior to the issuance of a COC, a fence will be in place as a project specific. And then as a perpetual, there's also that the fence will be, or the barrier will be maintained. And Nick was content with the language choice there.
Okay.
So if you guys have any particular wordsmithing you'd like to do.
But if that says prior to the issuance of the COC, the barrier will be in place?
Right.
Then we can't do the COC.
Well, no, for what would be 400, right, the barrier has to be in place, but for 389, the
Okay.
partial, it's not part of that order.
Okay, prior to issuance of the COC for 400.
For 400.
Right.
This one's a confusing one because they're separate. Okay.
Yeah, we were sorry for Nick. He drew the shorter straw, we guess, in the office pool on this one. Okay.
I did win a bet
That's it.
to be here.
Did you? Don't believe you. Okay. All right. So I'm very comfortable taking them out of order for the fact that during the period of our meeting, I don't think anything will change substantially. no matter what the threat of nuclear war might be. Okay. So right now, we have before us the notice of intent for 7 Trevor Trail. We have discussed it, walked the site, gone over the conditions and the boilerplate and the special conditions, and this represents the final special conditions as approved by the applicant.
The applicant's representative.
There we go. Okay. Well, then in that case, unless anyone has any further questions, I would accept a motion to issue the order of conditions for 7 Trevor Trail, DEP file number 100-0400.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes, sir. All right. And I would accept a motion to close the public hearing for DEP file number 100-0400.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Next up is the certificate of compliance for 7 Trevor Trail, DEP file number 100-0389, and is a partial certificate of compliance based upon ongoing conditions. Work associated with grading and site preparation for dwelling on lot 13. So that lines up. Does anybody have any further questions or discussion on 7 Trevor Trail, DEP file number 100-0389, partial certificate of compliance?
So what was the final decision for?
This is, the idea is that this partial certificate of compliance releases the parcel from the first OOC and puts it on the second OOC, which we just issued, which actually maybe we were in the right order because it's protected by one before we let it go from the other.
Okay.
And that way George doesn't have to smirk at me again because who knows what could have happened. He's absolutely right. Okay. So based on that, I would accept a motion to issue the partial certificate of compliance for 100-0389 with specific respect to lot 13.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Too easy, right? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Our next action on tonight's agenda is to open the public hearing for the notice of intent for Oak Ridge Drive, Assessor's Map Assessor's Map number 27, parcel 206. Do we have a DEP file number? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Sears. So, do we have an electronic copy to post, or should we put the map up?
Did you send me a PDF of this one?
Kevin would have sent it to you.
I'll have a look, let's see.
Green cards?
Yeah, here,
Oh.
There you go. Maybe?
You got enough phone numbers?
How about that?
Look at
Oh,
that.
okay, good.
Really advanced right here.
You want me up there, or?
Well, actually, I bet you if we...
Oh, too much.
No, just jump it up there a little bit. There you go.
Yeah, Steve, if you want to go there, because then the
Okay.
camera watching you anyway. Folks at home can see what you're talking about.
Oh, great.
No pressure. Don't trip.
All right, Steve Sears from David Ross Associates here, representing Roger Kennard, who's going to build on this property. This is, this notice of intent and plan expired, so that's why we're here again to resubmit a new notice of intent, notify all the abutters. And I think we have one slight revision down here at the, was it the catch basin? Can you move it up a little bit, somewhere over here, right here, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that was, no, maybe, I'm sorry, it was, this one here, right.
There you go.
Yeah, the
Filtered?
catch basin.
Gotcha.
Okay.
This one?
That's changed, basically. As you know, and if you bring it down, I just wanted to point out, when we did our site walk,
Not far.
I think other way.
yeah,
Oh.
when we did our site walk, we were asked to show all the trees on the property, and the main plan was just too congested, so we've got an overlay that we stuck up in the corner here showing all that. Basically, everything's, and it's the same as the original notice of intent that we had, I believe it was 3 years ago?
Oh, more.
Yeah, it's 3 years and a week, more or less.
Okay, 3 years and a week. So, I think, with the exception of you folks are kind of aware of what this was and did the site walk with me. But basically, this whole parcel was owned by the occupants of house number 24, and then it was, this lot was cut off of that parcel and sold to Roger. Roger's here. So if there's any questions that I don't know the answer to, I'm sure Roger can help answer them. But to show the filter sock, I think that's proposed filter sock
It says,
siltation
yep,
area, right. And that's right along the edge of the road.
and then you've got, it looks like you've got 2 walls. Are those both
Yeah.
retaining walls?
Yep, top of the wall, it's just because it's so steep there that, catch the grading,
Mm-hmm.
fill and grading. And then this one here is for a cut up and back. Cut the driveway, they're gonna put the driveway in on this side. So, and everything, basically, I think we're out of the 50-foot buffer zone. Yep.
There's your line.
Yeah, 50 foot. So a lot of the work, some of the work's within the 100-foot buffer zone, but I believe there will be no work within 50 feet on the high water mark of the pond.
All right. Jess, do you have any questions?
No, not at this point.
George?
No.
Bonnie?
Well, since I know the area, because I live up the street, but, I didn't attend the site walk, unfortunately. I would like to have another site walk so I could walk the property. It is, I know it's a very large grade, up to the top of that hill. And, you're gonna be digging into that hillside quite significantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering what your proposed sequence of, construction events, how will that take place?
Thought we did. Well, maybe Roger can briefly explain the construction sequence since he's into the construction part of it.
Well, we've had the box staked out for the footprint of the proposed house. So we'll get in there, first of all, the
the filter sock will go in first with an inspection before we do anything. We'll have to cut the trees back. And we have everything staked to limits of clearing. And then once the trees have been taken out, we'll stump it, haul the stumps off site, and then we'll take the foundation. And the excess fill will probably have to be removed because there's no place to stock it. And, we'll make sure that the driveway is well stoned up so we're not dragging any mud out in the street.
Will there be a plan to clean up the street? I mean, there's going to be some, you got a couple rainy days.
Yeah, nightly,
You're going to have a lot of runoff into the street.
we shouldn't have any runoff beyond the sock.
Okay.
That should be contained right there. But right there at the driveway where it comes onto Oak Ridge, we'll be putting some trap rock in there for temporary.
Yeah, we did put this note on here, that the siltation barrier will be put in place at the entrance there. Each time the site is left on at night, when we get done, we'll hook that back up so if it does rain or something.
And we'll have to remove it to bring utilities up to the foundation and then put it back nightly.
Great.
Roger, good evening. So I remember walking the site. For some reason I thought we had a stone strip at the bottom of the driveway. I thought that was on the original plan. It's certainly something we'd probably look for just because of how steep the site is. You just don't really have any good spot to, level out before you hit the road.
We didn't change any of this, I don't believe. I think this is the plan we submitted the first time out, see stones.
No, I don't see it either. Just on the driveway area when the trucks are coming in and out.
You mean it to finish when it's hot top?
No, sir.
No.
During
During
construction.
construction, yeah, there's going to have to be stone at the bottom, so we're not tracking any mud out into the street.
Well, probably the best way to deal with that is we can just take another peek at it on Saturday morning. Okay. Any other questions before I open it up? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Carol Daly, I live at 24 Oak Ridge Drive.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, I've got a couple of questions regarding the abutters notice that was just sent out.
Okay.
Originally, when they were sent out in December of 2013, they sent out 14 other notifications. This time, they only sent out 5. Originally, they went, in 2013, they went to 9 residences. This time they only went to 3. Myself across the street and 103 Oak Ridge. One wasn't even sent to 102 Oak Ridge, which is closer. They also used a very outdated form that was revised in 2011. There's a new notification to abutters that came out in 2012, which has a lot more information on it. The old one they sent out has very little information. You don't even know which area or house they're talking about. And they also referred to the pond as Fletcher Pond. And as far as I know, it's Flanagan Pond.
So the Fletcher's-Flanagan debate is not something I'm willing to entertain tonight. Although I appreciate that different people have different viewpoints because of who lived at each end of the pond at different times. But I wasn't here.
Actually, somebody from the Historical Commission who's on the CPC is adamant that it's Fletcher's Pond.
Okay, but
But we
minutes
were-
and everything from 2013 is referred to as Flanagan's Pond.
I'm willing to promise you that the pond will not change no matter what we call it. That's a fair statement.
It is kind of, when you look at it, I have copies of the old one and the new one. Can I pass them out?
Please do.
Actually, the commission's got all those too, because in my notes.
Yeah, I've got the new one.
And
Oh, this
If
is
you have
the
the
one
old
that
one.
was received.
This is the one you just received?
Yes, and this is the new version that was not sent out. It has a lot more information requested on it.
So jurisdictionally, it's 100 feet, correct?
You have your own filing form?
I don't, no, this is our form from our packet.
Oh, okay. Are you one of your brothers?
Yes, I'm on 24.
Oh, okay.
Right next
So it
door.
works, you got it.
Pardon? Yes,
It
I did
works.
receive
You
it.
got the, you know.
And the people across the street and someone at 103, but 102 never received it.
102 never received it?
No, and last time, 9 residences received it. This time it's just 3.
Green cards?
right there.
Yeah, I was just going through them, so,
Yeah, 102?
It's not on the.
are you
list.
referring to property numbers or street number?
Street number.
Okay, so on here is 41, which is John and Linda Wesley.
Right, and they own that area, the right of way for the access to Flanagan.
Okay. Then there's Carol Daly, got 2. Mr. Delcourt, who I didn't see, but across the street.
He's 103.
Yep.
And
Linda and John Wesley, wait.
and the
looks like
Simeons
you-
across the street at 21 should receive one.
Mailed to Linda and John twice, just so you know. And yes, Denise and Mary and Simeon.
Yeah, they're on here twice.
Oh, look at that.
And we weren't going to take any chances this time. We mailed them to everybody that the assessors gave us a list. We mailed them to the certified list of the assessors, so apparently 102
Oh,
is
thank you.
not
Yeah,
in their
that's-
jurisdiction as a
It
butter.
should be, though. It should be. I mean, it's closer to 103.
So probably the best thing for us to do, thank you, Mr. Sears. Probably the best thing for us to do is to direct the applicant to go back, get with the town assessor's office. If there are folks who were not represented, it would make sense to redo the mailing and have another hearing at that time specifically to address it. Because obviously, if there's something missing. Now, if they go to the assessors and the assessor says, no, that doesn't, it's not correct, I understand what you're saying, that they're closer. I have no doubt that you know the neighborhood better than I do. But I also know that that what we'll need to do is just reach back to through the assessor's map to make through the assessor's office to make sure that we haven't missed anybody.
I'm starting to lose faith in the assessors in this town, because this is what happened. You're saying that we missed house number 24 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But 24 is the one that sold to Rogers, so how could they be in butter?
Right, right. Well, it was the timing then, and my own guess about this time is just the way the lines are drawn, that the original mailing went to the abutters for the 24 parcel as well as the parcel we're considering right now,
Mhm.
which is why 24 never got it, because 24, that lot was
It was one parcel.
right. And so by shrinking the parcel, you've shrunk the footprint.
Okay, so let's do this first. So, Carol, thank you for bringing it up, and actually, I'm sure the applicant appreciates you bringing it up, because better to find out now and be able to notify the correct people. Pass those back so Brad can hold this. Thank you. Okay.
One other issue to bring up is that when I spoke with Judy at DEP, one of the things that is within your power to do is to sort of forgive the local filing fees, because we are making them do this twice, and in a manner of speaking. And so that is something that I mentioned to those guys and said that I'd bring it up. And so, if you're feeling like this is some kind of, unfair burden on the applicant, that's one thing you can do that would be in your power if you'd like to.
Well, I think I'd be happy to talk about that and consider that during the site walk, but, so, you weren't the original applicant, Mr. Kennard, correct?
Yes, I was.
You were? Okay. Maybe we just didn't see you on the site walk. Maybe that's why I forgot. My apologies. I want to think about that. Okay. Any other folks in the audience have a question? Mr. Wetzel?
I'm Mark Wetzel, Superintendent of Public Works, and I know we're not necessarily in a butter, but we do have a pumping station in the corner there, so I'm a little surprised that this is the first I've heard about it. I didn't hear about it when it was submitted before. But I have some questions on the drainage on the driveway. How is that gonna be managed? Because you've got a fairly steep slope coming down the road, which then slopes across the road to a catch basin in front of our station. And, we're gonna have a lot of runoff both from the hill and from the driveway, right down onto Oak Ridge Drive.
Here's the driveway, you can see the sloping is 100. It looks like, I'm not sure, but it looks like maybe 10%. We got a foot, I don't know what scale that is, probably 10 feet. But, and catch basins are kind of way over here. So, anything that comes, if it does come off the road, it's not gonna go into the catch basins. Second
Well,
of
where's it
all,
gonna go?
well, after the road is paved, it's probably gonna,
Are you talking about the driveway page?
Driveway, yeah.
Driveway.
yeah,
Um,
it's a driveway. It's gonna-
Well, you can't have it running out into the road, because then it's gonna ice, and then we're gonna have a problem, and then someone's gonna say, well, Mark, you gotta fix the road because the drainage system doesn't work. And I do need to review that from a driveway permit perspective,
Mhm.
because that does look a little steep to me. Is there gonna be blasting involved?
I hope not.
Because it looked a little bony.
We don't know
to
till we
me.
get into it.
Because, like I said, we have a pumping station right there, and we can't have that be damaged during construction also. But I'm more concerned with the impacts of runoff onto Oak Ridge Drive.
Does the town own this pumping station lot?
I don't know if we own it or it's an easement.
It's an easement.
Because if you do, then that's another flaw, the assessors missed that one too. I hate to keep picking on the assessors, but not doing very good.
No, it says utility easement.
Okay.
Yeah, the assessors wouldn't pick up an easement, but
Right.
No.
I guess I'm just surprised that, I had heard there was something going on here, but I hadn't been notified of the.
Well,
that it had gone.
yeah, I'm required to be notified, I suppose.
Well, no, I'm not, but
when
I'm
the
just
driveway-
surprised as a town official.
Right, when the driveway
With
plan
an
comes.
vested interest in this parcel,
Exactly.
that I didn't realize that it was at this level of
But when
development.
the driveway plan comes to you, that's when,
Yeah.
you would definitely be notified, not as conservation procedure, sorry.
Well, since
Well, but
the,
if I require the driveway changed,
Right.
then we
Right,
have
yeah.
to come back here.
Yes, we would.
so I think at a minimum, to Mr. Wetzel's point, why don't you work through a driveway plan with Mr. Wetzel so that the drawing will have those final details on it. All right. Do you have anything else, Mark? Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, I kind of wonder why, I know Ross Associates pretty well, I used to. Why wouldn't they use a form that's 5 years old already, and they use one previous to that to notify the butters? Shouldn't they be requested to fill out a 5-year-old form rather than one that's even older than 5 years, so they have the right information on it?
So I think there's two pieces here. The first piece is that the notice to abutter form that the applicant used is the state form. And so it does not have as much information on as the other form does have, but it meets the standard of the law. So one of the things that we'll work toward after this meeting is to reinforce the requirement that folks come in with the form from our toolkit. I think the important part is that you were notified and that you're here and that we can explain to you any questions that you might have about the application.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize for that, because what we did was this notice of intent was done 3 years ago, and it was on the verge of expiring, so what we did was just try to take the same thing and just resubmit it.
But this form is 5 years old. When
That's
did you
true.
redo it? When did you first do it?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is 2012 is when
This
the
was done in
newest form
2012.
was revised.
This
So-
has been out since 2012. Ross Associates I know would be a little more up to date than that.
I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you why I pulled the wrong corner. Again, I apologize, but you are here, so it's going to work.
But it didn't work for the
very
other
well.
ones.
Didn't work for who?
It didn't work for the ones you didn't notify.
That's because the assessors didn't give us things.
So
So you're blaming me.
hold on, Mr.
I say it's
Sears.
the assessors that messed up, sir.
So, there are two problems. The first problem is that the form isn't the form that you'd like to see, and I understand your questions about that. I was just reading over the two forms, and you're right, there's more information, but the basic idea is there going to be a notice of intent, and what's the plan for, discussion? And neither form includes a plot plan or a photo of the lot or anything like that. So it's not like there's a serious difference between the two. I agree one is older than the other, but there's not a gigantic difference between the two. However,
Yeah, well, no, I disagree. There's a lot of difference between it, because there's a hell of a lot more information on one of them than there's on the other one.
You don't have to defend me, they just don't want to go.
but the second point that you made and that Mr. Sears is defending is that he went to the assessors, like all people do when they want to do a project in town, and they asked for an assessor's list, which is certified by the assessors. And unfortunately, the list they got doesn't include the houses that you folks have been kind enough to point out are missing. And so Mr. Sears and the applicant, at cost to themselves, will now have to go back to the assessors, get that list redone, mail to the people who are supposed to have received those things. We'll have another public hearing where we'll state that we're going to have another public hearing at that time, which will be May 11th, so that anyone who didn't get a notice at that time could be here.
And I'll make sure we use the right forms this time, sir.
Thank you.
Very sorry.
Appreciate it.
So I'm glad you're here, though, so that we can talk about these things. But I'm as disappointed as you are, and as I'm sure Mr. Sears and Mr. Kennard are, that the list wasn't accurate. Anyone have any other questions or comments? Okay. So at this point, we've discussed that the abutters list is missing a few abutters. We talked about the driveway drainage and taking care of the driveway permit ahead of time so that we can get any comments added to this plan so that the whole project is seen. I definitely want to see, when you're doing that, a rumble strip added to the plan that shows that we'll have a rumble strip during construction. And to Mr. Wetzel's point, if there's going to be any blasting, we'd probably actually include a condition that the DPW be notified in advance so they could have someone there during that process, if any blasting was necessary. Because obviously, if there's a problem with the sewer pumping station, better to be there to deal with it at the time. As per every order of conditions, that every notice of intent that comes in for an order of conditions, we have a site walk. Would you be available for 9 o'clock this Saturday morning?
No, sir.
Would you be available, Mr. Kennard?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's quite all right. You folks?
No.
No?
Yeah. Are you going to the climate thing?
I thought it was. What time does it start?
Noon.
What's this?
It's noon, yeah.
One of those little climate change rallies in Boston.
Oh,
Where? What, 8 o'clock sidewalk?
I can't. I have an
9?
8. It would be 9.
9.
Does it make more sense to do it on the 6th?
The following Saturday?
Yeah.
Can you make it, George?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Would you be available on the
Check
6th?
that.
Okay,
Sixth
the 6th
at
at 9 o'clock. The 6th. At 9 a.m. What's this one?
The next one, I'm just,
Okay. No, he's just setting up. So at this time, you got the notes, Mr. Sears, from our discussion.
Yep.
We will have a site walk on the 6th at 9 o'clock to go over the site. And also, hopefully, you might even have some details from the driveway permit for that day. Would be great. Anybody have any further questions on the application? I would accept a motion to continue this public hearing to May 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.
We just have 2 copies of the as-built, and there's our engineering letter.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Candy, Ducharme and Dillis. Hardly ever see them here.
What's that?
Ducharme and Dillis, we hardly ever see them here.
Yeah, well, keep pulling them in once in a while. And those
There
are
you
the
go.
original files if you want to have to do
I'm
that.
going to fold first. All right, so
How did you get colored copies?
I know, right? They're good.
Or you had a little spare time on hand?
Oh, you know why? It's because I called them. I said, hey, guys. You know, and they made nice.
It's
Send color.
easier when they highlight it, right?
okay.
Yeah, I was
So-
impressed. Color.
Good evening, Mr. Candy.
Good evening.
So we have before us a discussion for a request for a certificate of compliance for 2 properties, 4 Eagles Nest Lane and 6 Eagles Nest Lane, DEP file numbers 100-0325 and 0324 respectively. I think the last time I came up, we were talking about a rain garden. All right. So Bonnie, I think you're probably the only one who hasn't been up here.
I have not.
All right, so there's one driveway, there's the other driveway. And Brian, did you walk the parcel?
Last summer. And the only thing then that I noticed, and I came back and I double checked, the only thing there was that lot 2, it looked like some of the erosion control had, how should we phrase it, been buried,
Disintegrated?
you know, and so that was the only thing that appeared to be out of line at that point, and then that's a whole other issue of, you know, whether you pull it out or leave it, or, you know, because the yard had gone up
Was
3
it
feet.
hay bales or?
Oh no, it was
silk
the
fence?
silt fence.
Yeah.
It was you know,
Oh,
top.
the plastic silk.
Yeah, whether it's the top of the silt fence or the bottom, hard to tell. But it, you know, the ground came up 3 feet, the silt fence went down 2.5. But you know, the only thing I saw,
All right.
and that's probably the spot too. You said you cleared that out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any further questions?
No.
Where's the road that comes in?
So if you look on the plan to the bottom left,
Oh, yes.
so you can see the 2 driveways come in
Yes.
separately.
Yep.
And most importantly, we have a letter from Ducharme and Dillis Civil Design Group, reviewed work completed as referenced in order of conditions for Candy Brothers Construction LLC, DEP file number 100-0324 and 0325. Based upon visual site inspections and review of as-built plan enclosed, it is our belief the project has been completed with an acceptable construction tolerance of the approved plans. So we have our letter, we have our plans, we have our applicant. If there are no further questions, I would accept a motion.
Actually, let's hold that thought because I was expecting you guys to want to go for a visit. I didn't prep any paperwork. I thought you'd want to go and have a look. I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm doing my best to help you close your files. Jeez.
Did you take a look?
Well, last summer.
And it was all,
Well, so-
it's all been established for, this is just, this certificate, not compliant, the certificate of compliance is something that I dropped and hadn't got done, and Brian brought it up to me when he was going through his files.
When we were out for
Right, 'cause I
lot
remember
2
it
doing
was
the
roughly-
dog fence.
Right, yes.
And that's why I was down there looking around.
Correct.
Okay.
But this, all of these lawns and everything have been established now for, I've been there 4 years.
I was going to say.
I was the last guy in there.
And we have the engineer's letter. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to indicate, we'll get the board, is there any reason to not issue certificate of compliance? I would accept a motion to issue the certificate of compliance to be signed on May 11th for DEP file numbers 100-0325 and 100-0324.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Goes back in your court.
All right, so if you would pass that back.
You need
Mr. Canning, thank you very much.
Thank you.
They
You don't
sent,
need that.
they sent it to me, I got them, we're good.
Okay.
You know, put it in the files and, maybe I'll check in with the neighbor and just let them know that this is coming in and, you know, well, no, I guess not. The only thing I'm worried about is if, the guy wants the fence pulled out. That's about it.
You know what I'll do is I can go home there. When I go home tomorrow, I'll check and see if that's there. I don't believe it is. I know it stayed there for a while.
Yeah.
And basically when it got covered over, it's probably more so from the hay rotting down on it or whatever. So if that's in there and it's not anything that's going to cause any major erosion, which it doesn't because everything's established, I'll make sure that either we get it out or if he hasn't taken it out, if that's what you want me to do. If there's anything, it's a section of 20 feet probably.
Brilliant.
That would be
All right.
great.
Okay.
So, Brian will swing past, we'll sign on the 11th. We're all set?
You want it in
He's
the
got
mail,
to
you
do
want me to
some
drop it off,
paperwork.
what do you like?
Huh?
You want me to just drop it in my box? The sign's here, see on my drive.
You can call. Yeah, whatever you want to do. You got my number. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care, Mr. Canning. Okay. Next up is a request for certificate of compliance for Mr. John Giamo, 12 Patriot Way, DEP file number 100-0335.
Well, that's the one we want to do the site visit for.
Yes, if I remember correctly, we had a problem with this, right?
Yeah.
Do we
Steve's
have-
doing that one. You want me to take that? No, you keep it.
I gave it right, John, to you. You've already got it. Folded in paper clips. Good evening, Mr. Sears.
Me again.
Okay. So during our last meeting, we took a look at this one, and it was pretty clear that site conditions did not reflect the original order of conditions.
Okay.
Is that not your understanding? Do you have it electronically, Brian? Do you want to pop it up, or?
Probably not. Let's see.
In reference to the plantings or the deck work, patio?
The clearing?
I think it was the extent of clearing, placement of the shrubs. There was a lot of work that was done outside of the original approved limits.
Unfortunately, it's done and, you know, I'm here on behalf of Mr. Giamo, but I don't have an answer for you. You are absolutely correct.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we travel from Oak Ridge over to this property on the 6th? We'll take a look, see how things have come in, and talk about it there.
Okay.
Does that seem appropriate?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have a problem with doing this as a site walk on this?
I do have pictures. Yeah, I don't know if you want to,
We're going to be right down the street, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on this, I guess we might as well just vote on it. We'll visit this site on December 6th and re-see you on the 11th, and there's nothing to vote because it is a discussion.
Perhaps May.
So what did I say?
December.
Did I? Oh. Let's do May. So 5-6 walk, 5-11, put you on our agenda. All right. Thank you very much, Steve.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we have a public hearing, notice of intent, 0 Washington Street, Air Solar 2. Do we have a DEP file number, sir?
I wish. And you got the check for the box yet?
No check? Come on now. Cal's got it. No?
Check. Concom or submittal?
Oh, that's a good point. Put that in here so we don't forget, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You want to draft or want me to draft?
North Town.
All right, gentlemen,
Nice.
please begin.
Good evening. My name is Cal Goldsmith. This is Kyle Burchard. We're from Goldsmith Preston Ringwall here in Ayer, Mass. And we are here to make our presentation for the Ayer Solar 2 project. It's a notice of intent for the installation of a driveway coming off of Washington Street along a path that we had previously walked with you when we did our ANRAD, although I'm sure we're going to go back out and walk it again, to a solar project that's located at the west end of the property, almost adjacent to the rail trail, which is right over there. As you remember from your site walk, it's a difficult driveway to construct coming off of Washington Street. We have very detailed plans that we spent a fair amount of time preparing, Kyle particularly, and he will walk you through those plans in detail so you can see exactly what it is we're proposing. There is 4,390 square feet of wetlands being filled. Almost all of it, as you would expect, right at, I think all of it actually, as you would expect, right at that first section of driveway coming from Washington Street down to where the little brook crossing crosses under the trail. We had conversation when we were in the field about the right-of-way and how we were going to be able to use a portion of the right-of-way. If you remember, we actually since did deed research, and I know some of the abutters disagree, but we did deed research that shows that the right-of-way was divided back in 1972, a portion, the northern portion of it being incorporated into the Madigan Lane subdivision, so that everything left south of that property line is usable by us. So we were able to shift the driveway as close to the northern property line as the engineering would allow us to do. We have also proposed wetland replication. Kyle will walk you through all those details and walk you through a detailed discussion of the driveway itself. It's a complicated site. We'll be the first to admit that. There's a large area of wetlands there, and it extends over underneath the power lines, the National Grid power line easement there. And so we are, even though there's two large parcels of land we can use to get to our parcel of land in the back where the solar is going to be, the only way to do that is to cross at the very far northern boundary of the property to avoid the wetlands. Now there are three parcels involved here. The first two are owned by the Wilders. We have a purchase and sale agreement from the Wilders to be able to purchase that property. And the driveway crosses those two to get to the third parcel, which is Assessor's Map 4-39, which is where the actual solar is located. And that solar parcel will be combined with a parcel shown on the Assessor's Map as 12-1, but it's actually Lot 10, which is a portion of a subdivision that was done a few years ago off of Pleasant Street. It's Pleasant Street Extension, the Riley Jane Farm subdivision that you folks were involved in. Lot 10 of that subdivision is that area located right there that then is adjacent to parcel 4-39, and hence will be combined with those two being in common ownership, and those, so that will form one large lot which takes its frontage off of the Riley Jane roadway and Riley Jane subdivision was done several years ago. So the driveway that we're talking about is over an easement. It's an access easement. Even though we are combined with Lot 10 in the Riley Jane subdivision, there is certainly frontage and the ability to drive onto that lot from the Riley Jane subdivision, but there's not practical access across that large wetland area underneath the power lines. There's actually ponded water, there's a river through there, and a fair amount of wetlands in there. So to try and cross that to get to the parcel 4-39 where the solar is would be completely impractical and very, very expensive. So that what we've proposed is, as I said, through an easement, access through an easement from Washington Street to get to where the solar facility will be. Now, the facility does take its frontage off of the Riley Jane subdivision, Lot 10. We'll get its legal frontage from there. The town of Ayer does not require that you access your property through your frontage. There's nothing in the bylaw that requires that. And so we will do a common driveway running along that easement. And we said we had talked about 2 house lots, which we still intend to do, but we're not proposing those with this notice of intent at this time, but those will be located in about the area that Kyle's showing you where we had walked. We walked to the eastern edge of the low wetland area, out to the left side. If you remember, we walked. You lost me. Yeah, go move it to the east. If you remember, right there. Okay, so the low wetland area that we walked up to the northern portion of it. No, not there. Over further to the left.
Somewhere right around there.
Right there. That wetland line. If you remember, we stopped walking when we did the ANRAD about somewhere right where Kyle's hand is. Right there.
The big tree, that big pine was over here.
Right. And that line is, you did not certify that line because that's on a separate parcel than what we had applied for the ANRAD. So it stopped at the property line. But I just wanted to orient you about to where we were when we did our site walk. So if you can go back to the full.
Actually, if you can go back to that sheet one more time,
sorry.
please. No, it's okay. So, so to be very clear, the ANRAD stopped
right there
at this property line.
That's correct. It did not extend out to this.
All right, please continue.
Okay. The Air Solar 1 site itself, looking at that, is almost directly across the rail trail from, the Air Solar 1 is directly across the rail trail from Air Solar 2, which is what we're talking about here today. In between the rail trail and the edge of the solar arrays here, there is a depression that's wooded. We've had our wetland botanist look at that, and he said it does hold some water, but it's not a wetland in that area. But that it's deep enough that we're going to stay out of there. So that will provide some buffer between the northern portion of the solar site and the rail trail itself. We have also we went to the planning board a few months ago for an informal discussion about this, and at that time we showed a plan that showed solar. It showed the solar panels fairly close to the property line, the northern property line of Madigan Lane. And we were able to redesign the solar to pull it further away from that property line and allow for a portion of the trees that are in that area to remain, the wooded buffer to remain. So there's somewhat of a buffer between the back of the residences and the edge of the solar. And
does that extend all the way down? But you've got some clearing there.
Well, it extends down past where the solar panels are, yes. But then the driveway picks up. I want to move back down to where you were, Kyle. Yeah, right there.
Right there.
So an interesting thing, and I know we can't do it, but I'd love to be able to do it. There's a lot of drainage, there's a lot of grading associated with the driveway simply because there's a lot of surface in the driveway that we have to mitigate runoff for because it's a long driveway. because we're in an ACEC, in order for us to do any wetland filling, we need to make this filing a limited project, and we've got the paperwork to do that with us tonight. And because you're not allowed to fill in wetlands in an ACEC, unless you qualify for a limited project, and still you're limited to the 5,000 square feet, you need to provide compensatory wetlands as a replication, which we will do. But as part of this driveway design, we needed to also meet the stormwater standards, and so we had to actually do quite a bit of grading in that area to provide for storage and mitigation of runoff. And what I was getting at with the ACEC is part of what we feel we have to give you is an alternatives analysis, which I have prepared, and I'll give you tonight. And it actually will walk you through, I think, A, B, C, D, E, F, 6 different plans that we did along the way before we finally arrived at this one. And these plans, we were really struggling to try and find areas where we could put the stormwater that would cut the least amount of trees, endanger the least amount of wetlands and buffer zone, and still allow for some buffering of the abutters. So this area, we're closer than we'd like to the edge of the property line. In that area, we're probably down to 20 feet in some areas. But the only saving grace there is that there's 20 feet of trees, then there's the detention basin, the driveway, and then we're back into trees again, with no plan to develop any of that area, especially down to the wetlands. So the buffering from the abutters where it's a little wider is where the panels actually are, and this, where it gets a little narrower here, is for the driveway itself. The one thing I wanted to point out, if you look at those wetlands, what a tempting thing to just put a little weir across right there and forego all that grading and tree cutting and just let the wetlands hold some water for us and then spill down into the larger wetlands. Back in the day when you could do that, we did that in Maynard, and it worked out great. It was an additional water budget for the wetlands, kept the wetlands healthy. That would be a wonderful alternative to having to do all that grading and tree cutting and detention up above. But I'm quite sure that you're going to tell us we probably can't do that.
I think there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about. So I'm just here to give you a quick overview, so I'll move along. The panels themselves, as we said, are located in that western area there. Some grading involved in there, but not a lot. It's a pretty level area as it is right now. If the far western edge of our panels, there's a sewer easement that runs through. That's the main sewer trunk line that runs all the way up to the hospital and serves the Madigan Lane subdivision, the hospital, and then the Autumn Ridge development on the other side of Groton Harvard Road there. So that's the main trunk line for the sewer that runs through. That sewer is also the one that then continues into the wetland area that had the problem with being too deep under the water for the beaver dam and everything else. And that will also be where we'll run our sewer line into from the 2 house lots that we'll create at some point in the future. There's another little twist with this. It is ACEC, as I said. It's not NHESP habitat, which is a blessing, but there is a very interesting floodplain line. If you look at the floodplain for this property, there's a kind of a bulb-shaped amount of floodplain, and it is mislocated, I guess would be the best way to put it.
I think you just hit it.
Well, I was going to do a different plan.
Sure.
It's interesting in that we've run into this several times before, and certainly in this one, probably the most obvious wrong location of the floodplain I've ever seen. So if you look at the blue hatching on the one on the left, that shows the floodplain, which goes up the hill,
Right.
across Madigan Lane, up, encompasses Mr. Diskin's house and Mr. Madigan's house, or gets close to it anyways, and Washington Street. And if you took that and you rotated it about an axis somewhere off to the left side, it would fit very nicely in the wetlands down below. But unfortunately, that's not where it's shown. So that's an interesting little twist, and that's basically...
So the floodplain is the hill.
The hill is the floodplain. That's going to flood. The water will run up onto the hill. It won't run into the low area down where the wetlands are. It'll jump right up onto the hill. So
your issue is the lack of gravity in this area?
I think that's probably it.
Seems to be it.
It's very, very quick of you to figure that out. So we need to talk, and this is obviously not within your jurisdiction, but we just wanted to point it out to you so you'd be aware of it. We do need to go to FEMA and file a letter of map amendment with them of one type or another. We haven't quite figured out exactly what's the appropriate type to file with them. And in these cases, they'll look at it and say, yeah, that's obviously wrong. It should be down below. Kyle did a fairly extensive analysis of the watershed in this area and did come up with, using that analysis, did come up with an elevation to offer FEMA as to what we think the floodplain is. And I think it's about 238. Which the bottom of the hill in the area we're talking about putting the houses is, what, 245, 240?
242-ish.
Okay. So 238, the 100-year floodplain, is still well below the area that we're talking about constructing in. But it's, before we're going to be able to get an okay to move ahead, we're going to have to talk to FEMA and straighten that out. Kyle, do you want to start walking them through the individual plans?
Sure. As you've seen, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of design that went into figuring out the drainage that would work, the grading that would work for this particular driveway to get to this particular solar site. So the way the plans are structured is to try to get some overview, first of all, for context. The existing conditions, you can see they're not exactly in the same format. But then these larger scale plans in detail go through some of the major components of the project, which start with the entrance up at Washington Street. There are some retaining walls that are necessary. There are some steep slopes that are being provided in a geo-web fabric that is it's kind of like a cellular confinement that gets stacked together that produces this one-to-one slope that takes the grade down to existing grade, so it reduces our wetland impact. Otherwise, our 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 slopes would be out into the wetlands in this area right at the entrance. So we come off of Washington Street with the 2% landing for 20 feet, which then drops to an 8% grade going down the hill. And after the bottom of the hill, we then go to a gravel section, coming all the way back to the solar field. So this front section is about 450 feet of paved driveway to get down the hill, because we have to keep in mind that this driveway is going to have to bear the construction traffic that's going to get to the solar field, heavy trucks, for some period of time, before it would ever revert to just a low traffic maintenance road for that solar field, and then the potential for the residential lots that would be back further. So once we get down the hill, at the very bottom of the hill, there's an existing stone culvert that's coming out of the Madigan Lane subdivision. That is an intermittent stream that comes down, that includes some drainage coming down from the hospital. And comes down through various culverts and ditches and makes its way to this stone culvert, which is collapsed on the upstream end and perfect on the downstream end. So we had to accommodate that, and we wanted to accommodate flows coming through there without touching that culvert and how it functions today. It straddles the property line. It would be a challenge to try to reconfigure that. We don't have rights to go onto the adjacent property to change the configuration of that culvert. So there's a fair amount of drainage coming through there. The hydraulic analysis at that point is quite extensive. We'll get to a more detailed sheet later on. We come back up the hill at an 8% slope, and then we enter into the area that is adjacent to this knob of isolated wetland. Well, not isolated because it's connected to this entire wetland complex. But we come back through, and as Cal said, we went through several different iterations to figure out what is going to create the least amount of impact, but yet allow us to manage the stormwater appropriately. And this is what fits. Even this configuration still requires a 4-foot gravity wall along this sloped area to make up the grade as we're coming down what would, what's otherwise a very steep slope, to bench in the driveway into the hillside, and then we have the rise back up to the solar field, which again is coming back up at 8%. There's 2 major culvert crossings, like I said, one at the low point coming from the intermittent stream through Madigan Lane subdivision, and then this other one from this stormwater management infiltration basin. Both of these major culvert outlets have a energy dissipating level spreader to minimize higher flow velocities and discharges coming through these 2 locations. We also wanted to pay particular attention to the erosion controls and where the limits of clearing, the limits of stumping would be. Again, at this scale, it's difficult to read on the screen, but we have areas which will be cleared but not stumped in these shaded areas. This one is the 50-foot to 100-foot buffer of these wetlands. And there are these few pockets around the solar field where it was possible to not, just to clear but not grade and not have to stump the area. There's, the majority of the site flows out of Madigan Lane subdivision to this property, so most of this northernish boundary is just an orange, is proposed as an orange safety fencing, a visual barrier, and a clearing limit, so water will come through it into the site that we'll have to work with during construction. The entire southern boundary that in many places is up against the wetlands, particularly as we come down the hill towards the crossing, is a straw bale barrier with straw wattles. And that barrier continues along the southern edge and all the edges that would be draining towards the wetland resource area. Other places where it's a much gentler slope, such as up at the top of the hill here where the power lines are at their highest point, is just a straw wattle barrier and up against the rail trails. Very, minor erosion threat. So there is a stone construction entrance, and I want to point out that we put forth a construction entrance narrative that we sat and talked with DPW to get their read on this, as there needs to be some kind of traffic management during the construction of the entrance, because obviously it's a very constrained site, it's a very constrained entrance from a grading standpoint, and Washington Street will need to be used in some degree as a staging area for the initial construction. There's no place else where that can take place. Talked with DPW about that. We're awaiting their comments on that. And of course, the contractor, their means and methods and how they're going to do that, they need that input to create that traffic management plan during the construction of this entrance. Being that there's no other way to get down into the site other than at this entrance, it has to be constructed in stages. It has to be built up in order to achieve that access. It's not going to be simple. So this is more of an environmental impact map showing the encroachments into the buffers in different hatches. This is the 0 to 50-foot buffer. This hatching represents the 50 to 100-foot buffer. This cross-hatching represents the wetland impact area, where we're in order to get through this tight corridor, we are just disturbing 4,390 square feet of the existing wetlands that are there. We have 2 wetland replication areas, one on the fourth side, on the eastern side of the wetland bank, 2,230 square feet, and on the other side, 2,190 square feet. So we're trying to keep the replication in the same general area as where the alteration is taking place, and replicating the same amount. So coming out onto Washington Street, site distance is a concern for this driveway. However, we have more than ample site distance along the entire right-of-way. We're on the outside of the curve. It's not exceptionally steep coming in either direction. So here we begin a series of 3 plan profiles with a few details thrown in. If we look at this initial overall page, you'll see that there's these highlighted boxes which are trying to refer you to those larger scale plans. There's a faint box that's around, it's got a sheet label with it. Unfortunately, because of the convention for stationing the roads, they turn upside down. So we'll turn that upside down to really see the roads properly, the profiles properly. So you can see on this drawing that there's a good deal of fill that's taking place here. This fill is going to be inside the geo-web wall, as I mentioned before, which is designed for this type of application. It's going to provide a very long-term stable slope at a 1-to-1 slope coming down from the driveway. There'll be a guardrail all along this steep slope along the driveway. There's a 2-foot shoulder beyond, in front of the guardrail, with actually there's an additional 1-foot space from the edge of the shoulder to the guardrail itself. So it's really 3 feet at that point. Going through the drainage design, we're realizing there's very little ability to clean the water as we're coming down this hillside. I was trying to do it initially with some water quality swales and pea-stone filtration diaphragms, but that wasn't doing it. To get the TSS credit that's required of 80%, we had to go with tree box filters, which then caused a need to put in some curbing to be able to direct the water into the tree box filters appropriately. The tree box filters have piped outlets from them that go into these little smaller water quality swale basins. There's a total of 6 of these tree box filters that get us to be compliant with the DEP stormwater standards.
Zoom back in.
Sure.
All right. So that's riprap, so that's the tree box filter?
This is the tree box filter, tree box
Okay.
filter, tree box filter. There's one more up this way, right there.
And this is where you're saying they outlet into the stone riprap?
They have a piped outlet, but in the event that this, 12-inch riser into an 8-inch under drain is overwhelmed, if there's a large event, if there's clogging of debris and so on, it will just simply overflow the wall of the tree box filter into this basin directly. It's armored for that purpose, just to make sure that as things happen, as clogging occurs, as it may tend to happen, that there's safeguards in place to prevent erosion. So this system continues on this side, and this is kind of the most critical side for us to have this, since this is the only pavement on site. We want to make sure we clean this and we manage this appropriately.
You said it was 400 feet?
450 feet. So on this page, because this starts the intensive use of the tree box filters, this is our tree box detail, a chart showing all the inverts and so on that are required, all the specifications that are needed for that tree box filter. This next sheet, again, match line at station 3+00. Shows as we come into the low part of the driveway, we can see this is the location of the existing stone culvert. There's the inlet side here, which is crushed, though water gets in there, but I'm not anticipating that that's going to function in a high event storm. So there's a low spot in the gravel driveway that's at the property line. So that will turn into a great big weir that will come into a depression here, where there is one retaining wall on this side, one retaining wall on this side, in order to hold up the road so that this culvert can get underneath. With 2 feet of cover, this culvert is intended to be a dual arch culvert. Now, the way that it's proposed is as 2 48-inch diameter culverts that are half filled with some sort of substrate that would be conducive for the wetlands and for flow to pass through. So what you end up with is a double arch that's 24 inches high by 48 inches wide. This is enough capacity to pass the 100-year storm without overtopping the road. It's lapping, the 100-year storm is lapping at the edge of the road, but it doesn't overtop it. There is, in this whole network of water quality swales and tree box filters on this side, before the last outlet from that system into this dual culvert, there is a catch basin that goes into an underground detention system that has these 2 120-foot long, 36-inch diameter pipes that then have an outlet structure that has a low flow 2.5-inch PVC outlet to a stone filter pit, which as I go back to the previous drawing, that 2.5-inch PVC pipe comes across to this stone filter pit and feeds this wetlands restoration area, or participates in feeding that wetland restoration area. It's the primary outlet from the underground detention system, and even though that outlet gets overwhelmed and the other overflows will activate during higher storms, this is the first outlet that comes out of that underground detention system to feed this wetland bank. So the other overflow that comes out of that underground detention system, again, goes to an armored outlet that goes into the existing wetlands. There is also, up against the property line, there is a retaining wall in order to allow for the water quality swales to pass between the road and the property line. On the gravel side of the road, there's a grass swale that's got a turf stabilization in this hatching where it gets steep, but this is an 8% slope through here. This turf stabilization will, prevent erosion through here. There is then a forebay here and another water quality swale before it enters into this opening, armored, riprap armored opening that then goes through the culverts off into the wetlands. Wetland replication area, the numbering is wrong there. We have 2, it says number 3, but this is the second wetland replication area. Then we have the large basin that Cal mentioned is there for, there's a lot of water coming at us from the Madigan Lane subdivision. This is one way that we control it and pass it. Again, have the 100-year storm does not overtop this road, but in the event of some sort of failure or clog, the road is armored for the pond to overtop and then head into the wetlands. This is a separate armoring level spreader to dissipate the energy of the water coming out of the intended primary piped outlet from the basin. And then it's an armored level spreader. So this line is representing the 50-foot wetland buffer. We wrestled back and forth, as you'll see in the alternatives analysis, with where to put this road, where to put this infrastructure. This seemed to be the least obtrusive. Now we've flipped again. Right, so we're now right side up, north is up, and we're on the northern part of the solar array. The infrastructure back here is relatively simple compared to the driveway. We have gentle slopes, steepening a little bit in order to match existing grades that swale on either side over to a small infiltration basin. The soils here are very good. They're A soils, they will infiltrate very well. Even though we're using a conservative number for that infiltration. And then it's simply, we look further south, we get to, again, swales that run towards this infiltration basin. Here's the wetlands. Again, we're just stumping in the wetland buffer at this point. Because of shading, we need to be able to control that, but we can leave the ground intact. We made accommodation, as Cal said, for access for DPW on their sewer line, and we have a couple of smaller basins over on this side, which honestly, because the arrays don't actually produce any additional runoff. Yes, they may concentrate it at the lip, but they don't actually produce additional runoff beyond the change in cover from forest to grass. The amount of runoff that gets here on A soils is very low, and they have stone outlets, but they don't really activate. So we have a wetland replication plan showing the 2 wetland replication areas, planting various types of plants. We walked out there with Mr. Crossman. He conveyed to us that there's largely winterberry and alders existing in the wetlands. So we have winterberry and spicebush, red maple, royal fern, sensitive fern planted throughout the wetland replication areas.
Did you say there were 3?
No, there's only 2. There's a mislabeling that there were 3. There's only 2. From there, again, we have our various erosion control details. It's worth noting that because of the potential for the 2 residential lots, we are extending water service and a hydrant. Talked with DPW about the materials and the tie-in and so on. Some details for the underground detention, the control structures for the basin, as well as the stormwater management infiltration basin, and the stone filter pit, what the retaining walls will look like. This is a detail sheet for the GeoWeb fabric, or I call it fabric. It's not. It's a GeoWeb. It's a cellular confinement that's stacked up layer by layer in order to make a stable base for the road. We have typical fencing details for the solar array, and then, as I had shown before, we have done an extensive study on this basin. It's a 220-acre basin. Able to obtain information from various sources in order to be able to complete a modeling of this so that we see what's going to happen when the big storms come through. And found, of course, went out and surveyed the existing stone culvert that's underneath the rail trail, which is in remarkably good condition. It's about 2 feet by 3 feet. And we also found, of course, that we have a beaver dam that really is doing a lot of the control and the ponding that is in this area to begin with. It's really kind of the controlling factor that creates the ponding back up in this area. It's not the culvert at this point. It's apparent that, it seems as if this beaver dam does not create inundation of these sanitary sewer manholes. Maybe it was the time of year that I was out there, but it seems as if there's, I don't see a reason why that would have to be taken out for any reason. So it could be left there, and it creates the ponding that comes up.
By the time you get down to that culvert under the rail trail, it's pretty low. And the beaver dams are not that large, so even if it's holding a pond there, it's still at a fairly low elevation.
Is that area where it's really steep on both sides? And
Yeah.
if we go on the other side, we're at Solar One?
I think
Yeah.
when
Exactly.
when we went to walk it, I think for Solar One, and we went, I think I tried to get down to see where it was going. I couldn't see it.
Right.
It was
But
inundated at that
It
time.
was inundated at that time. I went back, I saw it, found pictures, or surveyors went out and shot it. So we know where it is, and you look down at it, and it's clean, So it's in good shape. Don't know what happened with the settlement that's right over top of it in the rail trail, but it's functioning. So took a look at how the Rosewood Avenue culvert intended flooding would work with that. It's in the back of the drainage report that was provided. An analysis that talks about the elevations that we established, the flooding for the Rosewood Avenue culvert. Doesn't create any, well, it creates a slight backwater effect, but that's accounted for in the modeling, so we're not missing that when we create this flood elevation.
I'll just keep it with this, then we'll take that.
So, put all the information in to model it, and, we knew it was gonna be drastically different than what the FEMA map shows. Being way out here, up the hill and so on, this is just where it ends up.
When we do the letter of map amendment to FEMA, when we send that in, we'll send this analysis with it and make a recommendation that the 100-year flood be set at this elevation, 238 elevation, and they'll review that, go through it all, and maybe challenge it, maybe accept it. Generally, they've been pretty receptive to what we've given them, but it's obvious that that they just got a little twisted. Somebody moved the paper on them when they were drawing the floodplain. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think this has been updated in a long time, has it? Well, the FEMA maps were, but I don't think this changed.
This is not, there's no detail engineering of this reach, as we also found out in Roosevelt Avenue Culvert. There's no elevations coming up that far.
Well, you would figure, because if they had listed the elevations, they'd have figured they were wrong.
If they had come up with an elevation, they would have had to have been at 258 or something, 260 or something. That wouldn't make any sense.
Looking yourselves, a very high elevation.
All right, so if I may, we have gone through the basic set. It's an awful lot to take in.
It certainly is.
Did you have any questions, Jess?
Because it's ACEC, a lot of filling. I'm wondering if this is an outside consultant.
Well, I was already kind of figuring that, because there's just too much information in here for us to take on.
And it's, as they say, complicated site.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
Do you have anything else?
When you talk about the driveway, you're talking about it paved and then gravelled. But if you did put in, if it was permitted, which I don't know if it will be from us, but if you put in 2 houses down the road, that would have to be paved all the way then, wouldn't it? Or
No,
I don't think there's a requirement to
driveway that's the full width.
the other thing is the angle of that road coming off of Washington. What is DPW? It's a very acute turn from.
DPW has a generally, I think, a rule of thumb. I'm not sure if it's written hard, but it's about a 60-degree angle. And, right here at the entrance, this is maybe a 20-degree angle. The line is on a curve coming off the road, but this is maybe a 30-degree angle. So it's much less severe than what DPW would allow.
Not to intrude on Jess's point, but it might make sense where this would eventually be a driveway, to have the DPW sign off on it as a driveway from the beginning, so that way there's no.
Driveway or road or driveway?
Well,
Okay.
I don't know that. So, I don't know that. Would you ever intend for the town to accept it as a road?
No, it does not provide frontage. It will not be a.
So in that case, it would just be as a driveway.
It's going to be a
So
common driveway.
at a minimum, it would make sense to have that incorporated. Any comments that Mr. Wetzel had incorporated in here before we went any further.
That's why I gave them a copy of not only the full plan set, but a drainage report in case they had any comments or questions.
Thank you. Anything else, Jess? George?
Not at this time.
Lonnie?
Yeah, just to follow up on Jeff's comment. So if houses are going to go back in there, doesn't water and sewer have to go down to do that?
Well, as Kyle pointed out, we will be running water down it
Yeah.
to service that, and there'll be a hydrant at the far end of it.
Uh-huh.
That would be available, obviously, for anybody that needed it. But and then the sewer line will run from where the house location is west and tie into the sewer main that's located on our property where the
hospital
where the hospital line comes through.
Okay.
So we'll actually have a gravity tie-in to the sewer main at the far end. Hopefully, a gravity tie-in.
And isn't there a vernal pool up on the northern end on the border there?
I don't think there's a certified vernal pool on this site now.
No?
Okay. One other question is, we've usually not asked for a habitat analysis, but given one of the arguments seems to be to ask for this as a limited project, and there are restrictions on work in ACECs that affect habitat, so that would be an additional thing I'd like evaluated independently.
By habitat, you mean just general habitat, because it's not within an NHESP
But wetland habitat,
I think ACEC designation is, I mean, it's an environmental, critical concern, which, involves a lot of, natural species, right? And
Mhm.
the whole area is an upland area, right, coming up from the wetland.
Except where it's being filled.
Yeah, except where we're filling it above that, yeah, it's all
Right.
an upland area.
Right.
Well, why don't we direct some of those questions to our consultants so we can make sure we understand what we're doing. Only because it came up during the last application. You have 42 people on here. Did you guys take any shot at validating the abutters list? I'm not assuming that you did. I'm just asking politely because with the last application, that was obviously an issue. I didn't know if you guys took a shot at validating.
We use the certified abutters list from the assessors per the statute.
Just merely requesting. Okay. So based on the fact that we have alternatives analysis to review, validating the qualifications under the limited project, 4,300 plus filled, 4,390 I think it said, and replication is 4,420 by my math. It definitely seems like we're in a spot to bring in an outside consultant and make sure that we're doing this correctly.
Sure.
Just so many complicated pieces and
We
parts.
expected it, yeah.
So, at this time, I'd like to entertain any information or any requests from the audience or questions. Sir?
ask for names. Can just get
Ken Diskin, 180 Washington Street, and I'm on the butter to the project. And as Mr. Goldsmith alluded to earlier in the discussion of the driveway and its property line, there is going to be a conflict here. And I do have, I'm not sure if you'll take a minute to look at what I brought.
So is it a survey conflict?
It's a conflict of his interpretation of a drawing, which he refers to in the narrative and whatnot, which is this drawing in 1962. So the original drawing in 1972 was commissioned by John Eliades, who determining the property line of his property to put the property up for sale eventually, which he did. And the drawing is signed off. Now, there is no deed on the drawing, but there's a signature block here where George Moore and John Eliades signed an agreement to the property line. However, the property line in question is only the Moore property, which is parcel 439. There is no signature on the drawing from the Wild.
But before you go any further,
Okay.
Kyle, would you be so kind as to go back to the big plan so that we could just show this to folks as we go?
Of course.
Thank you very much. Actually, maybe a less cluttered one. There we go. You think
This
you can-
discussion actually starts with my attending the ANRAD meetings and pointing out at the final ANRAD meeting that the drawing that was presented and signed off of the ANRAD took off the version 1 and 2 of the ANRADs, which showed the location of the old road. And that's my contention at that point was that they were trying to determine the property line. And I was told by this board that it'll come up later, and it is coming up right now. So their drawings indicate that they are entitled to work across the entire width of the road, and I do accept the fact that Mr. Goldsmith and the GPR determined that the signatures on this page between Mr. Moore and Mr. Eliades verify that they're agreeing on the property line for the property that they abut to. That's what he refers to in his description here. He does say this, he says the strip of land contained in this discontinued way was dissolved and split between the abutting property owners in 72 to create the current northern boundaries of the project. I have a problem with the wording on that because it's the southern boundary of what was determined here was the southern boundary of the Eliades property, not necessarily the northern boundary of the property that we're talking about right now. So the research I've done indicates, and again, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a lawyer, just looking at the same drawings that Ted looked at, the Wilder property existed, and it's right through today, from 1920 to today. They never signed off on this drawing, which he's talking about from 1972, and we agreed. Moore and Eliades determined that lot 439, today the number 439, has a common property line. We believe the property line for the balance of the plan is the southern tip of the Alliance's property, southern tip of Madigan Lane, is not the northern tip of northern boundary line of the Wilder property, since the Wilder deeds still indicate that their property ends at the southern edge of the road. So if we put that 16 and a half feet, if it's a half a road, 33 feet if it's a full road, onto those drawings, the 4390 goes away and gets over 5,000 square feet. So I'm contending that we need to look seriously through the consultant, through attorneys, whatever the case might be, to determine if, in fact, where is the center line of that portion of property between the Wilder property and now Mr. Madigan's property, and conceding that the more land in the back is fine, and that's a conjoined, that's an agreed upon boundary line.
So here's my thought. Can you go back to the overall plan, please? Great. So if we could zoom out. Thank you. So Ken, and we weren't putting you off, one of the thoughts during the ANRAD was...
So I know you weren't putting me off.
No. The thoughts during the ANRAD had nothing to do with the property line.
I understand that.
The ANRAD was all about the flag. Okay.
I knew that.
So at this point, what I think is probably the best thing for us to do, because I've never been in a situation where there was a contention on the property line. So the best thing for us to do is to reach out to DEP and to ask them what's the appropriate way to handle this.
Okay.
So one way would probably be to have the two lines surveyed, or to discuss what is the standard of survey for this.
We have surveyed it, and our professional land surveyor reached the conclusion that we presented to you. We do disagree with Mr. Diskin's interpretation. He came into our office, we met for an hour and a half. We made it very clear to him what we feel the correct answer is. He disagrees. That's his prerogative, obviously, but we don't agree with it. We don't think that there is any property line dispute here, because the line was determined in 1972, and there are bounds and former stone walls shown on the 72 plan that indicates that the property line was drawn more or less in the middle of the right-of-way that existed at that time, and that the half of the road that the Elites were entitled to has been taken and incorporated into that subdivision already. So we completely disagree with his conclusions, and our professional land surveyor disagrees with his conclusions. But to be absolutely certain, we've asked a law firm experienced in these matters to review the entire thing and give us an opinion on that, which we're hoping to have sometime in the next couple of weeks. But I would also respectfully suggest that Conservation Commission probably does not want to put itself in a position of determining property lines.
I'm not asking you to do that.
No.
I understand that.
So the only reason that without sounding cavalier, the only reason that I'm worried about the property line is with respect to the fact that if there was a dispute about the property line that later showed that it was left or right, that would clearly determine some of the design, et cetera, which would affect calculations, which would affect filling, et cetera.
Well, we can pretty much say that if we had to move the entire roadway 16 feet further into the wetlands, that we're not going to be able to do it.
I can pretty much guarantee that too. So I appreciate the information, and so the best thing for us to do is to reach out to the DEP to get a better handle on what the right way to prepare for this is. All of my experience with property bound discussions like this involve the two parties either hiring separate surveyors or court action to fight where that boundary is. And that's not really our purview, but the results would be our purview. So we're certainly interested to hear what comes out of the attorney and to ask DEP what the right way to go forward is. I'm pretty certain that the answer is going to be that the legal action would be the responsibility of others to determine that we have a stamped plan before us, but that's just my guess. But I definitely don't want to put aside your concerns, and we'd like to reach out to DEP and ask them what's the right thing to do.
The background to that is pretty you understand the background completely is all about the 5,000 square foot.
I understand all the pieces of it that you're talking about, and I also am concerned that there's even a question about it.
Right.
So we will follow through on our side to speak to DEP and ask them what's the right way to go about this from our perspective. Again, the only reason it has any effect on us is if the applicant was proposing building a road on someone else's property. Obviously, our work, that would be a problem for what we're talking about here. Not so much because we still couldn't issue an order of conditions because it was the information that was presented to us, and then it would be the property people's, argument. But we don't want to be in that position, so this is the right way to go about it. Did you have anything else, Ken?
I think I congratulate DPR for the quality of the work they did. I looked at the drawings and I must admit that if the project goes through, I guess we will be witnesses to the most expensive driveway we built in the town of Ayer, which would be nice. So the quality of the work is really well done.
Thank you.
I find no issue at all with the drawings or any kind of quality of the work. My only contention is that, and I understand that they've done some work in the back, we can talk about that later, setbacks and distances for the tree line. So I'm sure I appreciate that. I'm not sure my fellow neighbors say that. I know how critical it is, that piece of construction, for the rest of the project, so that's why I brought it up.
No, I would say it's the project.
Oh, yeah. So we would not disagree.
Someone else have a question or comment? Yes, Liz?
I still have a question about the trees that were clear cut. Was that calculated wrong? Where they cut all the trees down along the line of everyone's property?
She's talking about solar one.
That's a different
I think
project.
it's solar one.
Yeah, solar one.
Are you referring to the project before us or a different project?
Yeah, solar one.
That's not before us. We're doing Cellar 2 right now.
Okay, then, all right, I have another question. How far are the solar panels gonna be from the rail trail?
I'm certainly entertaining your question, Liz, but it's not jurisdictional, right?
I don't follow you.
Well, the question about where the solar panels are with relation to the rail trail. So, as far as a distance is concerned, we can certainly talk about it, but it's not germane to the conservation of the work that's happening on the project. But if we can figure it out, we can figure it out.
I think it's about 60 feet.
At the closest point there.
So, are these the closest tier, maybe?
Right, and this is the rail trail. It's sort of,
So these are, I don't know if you can see this, Liz, these are super light in color and now they're gone.
Where's my scale? This is.
Stole my scale there.
So it's.
So you can see the banks of panels.
It's probably more like 80 feet.
Here,
And then as you get further up north, it gets further and further away from
can you go to the scale again?
it.
I have moved, we're all set.
Right?
Yeah.
About 70 feet.
We were between 73 feet. It was 73'6" by my eyes. But is there a buffer, tree buffer between? So can you show where that tree buffer area would be? So it's that area. I don't know if you can see this between the rail trail and the solar panels. There's a tree buffer between them because it's to the north side of the panels.
And as you go north, Kyle, pull the drawing down a little bit. As you go further north,
You won't see it.
they all go off this way, the rail trail heads off that way, and you've got a much larger buffer there.
Right. And this was, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the area that you were planning to, were you going to stump but not, or sorry, cut but not stump?
This is, yes.
Okay. Did you have anything else, Liz?
Yep. For this project, the Solar 2 project, how many KWs is it going to?
That's not really,
How many kilowatts is it going to kick out?
168.
Yeah, it's probably 700 kilowatts roughly, but we're not. I'd have to look at it more carefully.
You understand that's an approximate number, Liz, because that's not pertinent to the conservation process.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what all the rules are, so I'm learning as I go, like you guys do. Is this a as-built plan? Is that what we're looking at right now?
No, ma'am, this is the plan to, it's a plan, as in, they would plan to work per this plan, and then the as-built would be a redlined or marked up drawing that showed what had been constructed.
This is an as-built plan.
Oh, it's an existing condition.
Existing conditions.
As it exists.
Yeah, we didn't build
Built
it.
by God.
Yeah.
Built by- There is a BBG in the bottom corner, I didn't see it.
What are the setbacks going to be from Madigan Lane?
Do you mean from a zoning perspective?
Yeah, just how far back is that going to be from Madigan Lane?
Can you just show the,
Here's Madigan Lane. This is the property right-of-way into Madigan Lane.
so it's somewhere between 150 and 200 feet from the end of Madigan Lane, based on an approximate finger measurement on the plan. Do you have anything else, Liz?
Yeah, I just have one basic question. No one seems to be asking this question, and I'm curious. When this is all powered up, who's going to use electricity? Is it going to go back to?
So can I make a,
I don't know that that's important for this
can I make a
discussion.
motion, please? Because it's 9:30.
Okay.
And this is not jurisdictional to the Conservation
So who
Commission?
would I ask that question to?
I honestly have no idea.
I can
I-
answer it very briefly if you want. To my knowledge, it hasn't been determined yet as to who the purchase power agreement is going to be with. I know National Grid was looking at it as well, so it's kind of up in the air.
I don't know how that works out in the end. It'd be private business of the people who own the farm, I assume.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to know. That was going to circulate through the neighborhood or just private?
That's a good question.
Generally above our pay grade.
Yes, sir?
I hope this pertains to this committee. Can you walk me through the closest, say, 2 or 3 property lines in the back of Madigan Lane to how big of a buffer zone to where solar panels start? Is that a question for this committee?
Well, it is, but probably the better question to ask is where's the clearing? So, if you know, what was your name, sir?
Kevin Horgan.
Kevin? So, which one of these properties do you live on?
I own the one that's a pie shapes.
That's all of them.
4-27.
Think this is you? Straight off the end?
Yes.
Okay.
Dave Gardner is right next to me, 4-28.
Okay.
Are you Dave?
Yes, I am.
Good evening. So,
50.
this is basically, part of the more important question is, you've got the clearing that has to happen here, and as we heard the gentleman discuss, they are looking to leave as much buffer as they can here. So, the reason I point that out is, it isn't so much where the solar panels are located as it is where the clearing will be located. And Cal and Kyle can stop me if I'm misrepresenting, but
And how deep is the buffer?
the distance-wise,
Well, and again, the buffer there is to the detention basin and to the driveway itself, and on the other side of the driveway are trees again. Whereas further to the northwest, when Kyle pulls that down, that buffer is between the backyards of those houses and the solar panels, the solar installation. And what's that, 50 feet in width?
It's 50 feet to the property line.
of trees.
From the tree line.
Trees to, basically the entrance into the solar array.
And then what do we have, another 75 feet cleared area to the edge of the panels?
Also?
One sec.
Pardon me?
Is there, I'm sorry.
No, I was, Cal, you were saying
I was
75
saying to
feet.
Kyle, is there another 75 feet of cleared space between the edge of the trees and the edge of the panels? Is that what we're holding?
It might be, it's something approximately.
60
because
60 to
it's based on
75
the
somewhere.
lateral. It's 75 feet this way.
Oh, I see, okay. So in a perpendicular, it might be
Call it
55.
another 50 or so.
Yeah.
So I hope this, what I wanted to do is make sure that I answered your question accurately. So from the back of your properties, this area here retains a treed buffer. But as you get into this portion of your property, that tree buffer is really shrunk down. Now, the distance to the solar panels is greater, but there's less trees between you and the solar panels, which is what I was trying to cover. So this area here
20 to 30 feet.
of trees in that area. So it'll be a thinner buffer between you and the open space, and then there's more open space, and then there's the panels.
And those, will they be the existing trees, or will they clear cut them and plant saplings?
There'll be the existing trees in this area up along the property lines. The 20 to 30 feet between, at the back of the pie-shaped lot, and the 50 feet over here on 4-28, and then the clearing stops, and then these trees remain.
Does that answer your question, sir?
Kind of.
The basic notion is that, as you can imagine, the applicant is leaving trees where they can, as many trees as they can, to provide the visual buffer to the north. And the property above yours, they're able to leave a few more trees. There are less trees available down below because of the size of the basin that has to be cut in. So that's what I just wanted to make sure you understood. What I didn't want to say is it's 100 feet, but there's a difference between 100 feet with 20 feet of trees and 80 feet of clear, as opposed to 50 feet of trees and 50 feet of clear.
So will there be trees between that basin and the back of my property line?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Existing trees.
Existing trees. The existing trees would remain.
Which is nothing there.
Did you have any other questions, sir?
No, I don't.
Kevin.
No, I don't. I just, the shoehorn of a regular project is insane, but it's not for this committee either.
Just because of lack of knowledge on my part, does your committee, does the commission have a typical way that they approach the amount of work that's done within the buffer zone? Is there you take an attitude that, we frown on the first 50 feet of work, or there's some calculation that says we allow a certain percentage? But you look at it, how do you have any kind of history of determining and making a decision based on the amount of work that's done, not just in the BBW, but in the first 50 feet of buffer zone, and then the final 50 feet, the total of 100 feet in a project like this? The reason I mention that, it's so close to be between a limited project and a real, more regulation, that in the excessive amount of work that's done within the buffer zone. I just didn't know if you had history at all on that topic.
If you'd like
Well,
to.
our bylaw doesn't allow us to do anything really different from the State Wetland Protection Act. And I think you were at some of our meetings this spring where we were reviewing changes to our bylaw,
Right.
and we're not ready to go for it at Springtown meeting, and hopefully in the fall. But people have a lot of questions, and there's a lot of resistance to doing too much.
Right.
So we can only do what the town and our bylaw would allow us to.
Or the state law.
Yeah.
And at this point, the state law would, as the applicant has described, they'd be, at limited project, that's up to 5,000 feet of filling.
If we were to get a stronger bylaw, you'd have to make sure you came and voted.
But the long and the short of it is that during the original ANRAD walk, we talked about the difficulty of any kind of project in this area, and we did talk about an alternatives analysis, and I'm pleased that the applicant has an alternatives analysis for us to go over and discuss. And I'll be just as pleased when an outside third-party consultant reviews the plans and takes another look at it. It's clear that a lot of thought went into the engineering to do it,
It's obvious.
but I'm no more comfortable than you about the amount of filling, and so really want to get another person's perspective. Any other questions? Yes, Liz?
Yeah, with that said, is the DEP going to look at this at all, or?
Every one of these applications is sent to the DEP at the same time it's sent to us.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Anyone else? I know you folks had come in a week ago. You're good?
Do they generally say anything though, or?
I think it's more about the fact that the DEP has the copy,
Yeah.
and I would imagine that there's a process they go through. For instance, we're going to ask questions about this one, so that makes it much more likely that it will be looked at by someone at DEP during the initial part of the process. All right, if no one has anything else, so
Actually, I'm going to pipe up now. Well, I've only got two little ones. The one, obviously the stormwater management's a pretty close affair. And then I know you don't have to do it, but did you look at the Atlas 14 numbers? Does it change anything?
I'm sorry, at the what numbers?
NOAA has a new stormwater atlas that DEP is currently in the process of reviewing, and it does change some of the math, some of the time for some of the storms. And it's come up in other places, and when I'm on the Concom, but there have been big basins, so like it didn't really matter because you're dealing with tens of thousands of gallons at a time. And this is a pretty close affair, and so a little tweak in 25 and 100, you might not matter for the function. And again, it's not just, in a manner of speaking, it's not jurisdictional, it's more practical. And if you run those numbers to see if anything would shift.
Well, you're telling me the numbers would be different, is that what is our, we're following what the DEP storm management
Right.
requires that we do.
Right, the current one as opposed to the one they're reviewing that might become the standard in a year.
I didn't go into hypotheticals.
Okay. And then the other, so I'm assuming the limited project you're trying to qualify as would be the
Driveway, access way.
You're not going for the renewable power one.
We could do that. I know there is one for renewable power as well, and it basically says you can get any access you need to get to solar power. We did it under the access driveway, being the only access to the site that we can use. It's kind of 6 1 half dozen the other, but.
Well, would the renewable power one allow you to have houses on the driveway?
Good question. I don't know that.
That'd be my guess.
But certainly from the standpoint of the driveway access, it does.
Well, and the final point of the renewable one has to do with no change in slope. And
Change in slope.
Yeah, it does say something like that.
no change in the existing surface topography or the existing soil and surface water levels shall occur except for temporary access roads.
I don't think that's you.
There's no such thing as a temporary access road here, so no.
So then
Okay.
you're going for the regular driveway of limited.
Yeah.
53-380.
Yeah. 3, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, given the hour and we still have stuff to do, what's the next step in terms of an outside consultant?
That's where I was going.
I figured you would.
So
I was giving you your opening.
that was very sweet. So what I would like to do, I don't know, I'm not certain what the process is. So when we do stormwater calculations, we usually go to Tata and Howard or somebody that the town has worked with in the past, et cetera. We haven't done one of these before. What I was going to do was ask the DPW if he might, if Mr. Wetzel might tell us a firm that he's used or has been, worked with in the past that's in the area that potentially isn't right here in Ayer.
What's your concern with the difference between this and another one? Tata and Howard?
Well, my only feeling was that when we had used Tata and Howard before, it wasn't for wetlands. It was for
okay.
it was for calculations of piping and stormwater on projects.
All right. I
And
understand.
so much of what we're talking about here is
Yeah.
really down to the wetlands and
Sure.
where those calcs come from. So what I wanted to do is just ask Mr. Wetzel if he had a recommendation.
Okay.
What I would like to do is get that squared away before the 11th during our meeting with the intention of getting, reaching out to somebody, potentially getting pricing so that we can begin that process through the town.
Yep.
And then I would prefer, so obviously we've had a walk on the most treacherous part, if you will, of the application. so we're all aware of it. But I wouldn't want to walk it again until we had the outside consultant available for that walk,
Fine.
if that makes sense.
That's fine. Yep.
So what we'll do is we'll reach out through Mr. Wetzel to see if he has a recommendation, and then during our meeting on the 11th, we'll discuss those results. As long as that makes sense to you folks.
It does.
Okay.
That's fine.
So if there's nothing else, I would accept a motion to continue this public meeting to 5:11.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your hands, I can do it.
So Brian should be contacting Mark for
Yes, we're going to do that right now. But before we do that,
And then, yeah, the legal fee for,
And you need, yeah, so we
and I
need
think it's 38 cents.
hey, Liz,
It's 100 flat, I know.
Liz?
It's 38 cents.
definitely.
Liz,
Let me write that down.
Just check in.
so if you want to, can I take 2 minutes of your time? Okay. So during our last meeting, Brian, I don't know if you can put this up on the screen. I don't know if you can put this up on the screen.
I can try. It's in an email
Folks.
at the moment.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
I'm not going. Staying in respect of the community.
Well, then stay quietly.
I have a big day tomorrow.
Okay.
And you can see.
This might take a while, wouldn't wait on me.
Okay. So I understood that there were questions about our budget and the paperwork that we
yes.
got last week.
Yes. Did you guys figure it out?
Well, Lisa sent us this with the headers on it. This is what was missing on our budget from last time. So fiscal year 16, that
Yep.
was the budget year ending last year.
Right.
Fiscal year 17 is the budget year that's now.
Yeah.
And fiscal year 18 is the proposed budget year for next year.
Holy cows.
And so what I wanted to do was make sure that you saw that no one was trying to hide anything from anyone. It
I
was
didn't
just
think
very
that. I
simply
just thought it was messed up because it wasn't adding up right.
I was much more upset about it than you were, I promise you.
Going, that's a lot of money to be wrong.
To not know what the columns meant
Yes.
was disappointing.
Yes. Well, that's good.
So this represents what we came into the year with.
Yeah.
That was the supplemental budget that was based upon additional time for the 40-hour position.
Okay.
And so when you come into this one, that's the budget item for the salary for 2017. That's the new total. So that's old, now, total for now, and then next year.
Why is it so much? Is someone's salary went up a lot?
It states,
or a part-time position went to full-time.
Oh, that's why?
yes.
Okay.
Does
That
it
would
say-
make the jump then. Yeah, okay.
Which then also has benefits and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that we
Yeah.
talked about it before you left, because I didn't want you to,
Yeah,
I certainly didn't want you to think that we took it any less seriously than you did.
okay.
And so,
That's kind of what I was gearing towards. Yeah,
well,
yeah, okay.
I'm not going to use the word furious, but I was furious. There you go.
Well, thanks.
No.
Thanks for that.
Not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page.
Well, we'll see you at town meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go.
And that's how that always works.
Every time.
Okay. We have 15 minutes. Ken, you said you'd be quiet, sir. We have 15 minutes. So let's talk about the most important one. We have town meeting, right?
Right.
So,
I would say we defer the goals and objectives to our next meeting.
yeah, I think we're going to have to.
Yeah.
So, town meeting, the only thing we're really talking about, so did they hash out the language? Is it all squared away? It's $25,000?
Yeah, I'm sure the warrant.
Oh, yeah, that's total, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not part of this budgetary thing, so non-issue. That's ages ago sorted out.
Well, I haven't seen it. So if it's all sorted out, then what's the plan? The 25,000, was there a mechanism involved, or is it we're going to be coming in every year?
Every year and the amount can change, is what I understood. Is that
So there was one of the help me out with the technical term. The little rollover. It's
It will roll over?
yeah. Well, I'm blanking.
I'm happy with rollover. So
Okay.
it will roll over from year to year.
Right.
I think,
Well,
How?
So the way it's gonna go is that you're gonna request the 25, and so should it be voted on and should you spend 23,000, you'll have 2,000 left over.
Right?
And then next year you would ask for like the next 25.
So in other words, we are back to begging every year.
yeah.
Awesome. So it's absolutely everything we agreed we weren't going to do. Yeah. Great. Great. So we got screwed. Nice.
Well, that's something we can address at some point.
We've addressed it in
With-
6 months of meetings, and this is the end.
Mm.
We just got the answer. Awesome. Okay. So I'll look forward to that again.
So that means that every year.
Every year.
at
Yep.
town
We're right back to
meeting-
the same problem that we were
So-
always in.
So at every year, it's either spring or fall town meeting,
Spring.
spring usually, okay.
Well, actually, we probably will need to do it in the fall because we need to have the money for
Right,
the next spring.
Yeah, we'll have to do it in the fall,
Oh.
right?
No, because if we get the 25,000 this year, we're set for next year. I mean,
We have 25,000 for
so-
next year, but if we were going to do $50,000 worth of work, we couldn't wait till springtime
Right.
meeting next year. So we're back to,
Yeah. Yeah.
We just got to point ahead.
Yeah.
so it's back to absolutely everything we said we weren't going to do.
And this would be a good time to say that the conservation fund vehicle is designed for this kind of thing. And so the item to solve this problem in the long run is probably to reestablish a conservation fund. Because then what the town would do annually as part of the budgetary process would be to put money in the conservation fund.
So why is that not an option right now?
You have to make them, I mean, in the discussions we've had so far, I raised the idea once or twice and we went with these other ideas, but it would involve probably formally discontinuing the one that exists on paper from the 70s and opening up a new one.
No, I'm not debating whether we talked about it. I'm debating about why, if that would work, why Robert and Lisa didn't put that forward. Because at the end of the day, we're going to have to revert to whatever they think is best.
Their proposal was to do the budgetary vehicle, and the commission decided that the budgetary vehicle didn't work. And then, rather than going to the fund idea, this is.
No, I remember pretty specifically we were going to figure out a way for it to roll over, and now what we're
this is how it
saying
rolls
is
over, the
it
25.
rolls over only if we come back begging again.
Yeah.
Well, no, the 25, like let's just say you spend 23, the 2 will roll over
Right.
theoretically perpetually.
Right, but that doesn't mean anything unless we come beg
Yeah,
for
the
another
next 25, the
1,000.
next
Right.
25. It becomes an annual item on, every town meeting on the same cycle will see the same language over and over.
I just didn't understand why you can't on an omnibus have a line item that's within the omnibus and that rolls over. But
So is this, I mean, now I'm confused because didn't we, so for pond management every year, we need a certain amount of money.
yeah, what we had
Right.
wanted was in the omnibus itself
Right.
to have that line item.
Right,
And then what we didn't use rolled over.
right.
Lisa had said,
What day's town meeting again? 8th.
maybe, Lisa had said it
Yeah,
can't
Lisa
roll
was
over within the
independent.
omnibus, so it has to be a separate article. And
So, yeah,
We're not
it's,
happy
Well,
about that.
So what about it not just rolling over, just getting it every year and
well, because
either you spend it or you lose it, and if we don't need it, it goes back into the.
no,
annual-
because
into
of the
general
inconsistency
budget.
of the treatment numbers. Like some years would be spot treatments, but some years would be way more than 25,000. So if we had a rolling over accumulating
Okay,
amount,
okay.
it would handle that.
Handle the
Yeah.
balance,
Yeah,
the highs and the lows.
Yes. yeah. So
oh boy.
This is a question, you guys, as to how you want to handle. This is Roseman Avenue Extension, and there is if you can orient yourself with the sewer easement and the end of Rosewood, that T-junction there, there's a little thing that says utility pole meter, new utility pole.
It says utility primary meter, new utility pole, P7-1.
Oh, yeah, primary. Thank you, yeah. And so if you go down that line to the DG customer disconnect pole, right? Do you see the little trees right out there?
Do I see the what?
Tiny little trees, shrubberies.
Where-
No.
where-
Okay, so that's where they are. Take my word for it. The power company there, to line things up, needs to cut those trees down, or they need to put the utility pole in the wetland. And so the question is, how would you like to handle it? Either as a field change where I say, yeah, sure, cut down the trees, as a proper amendment where they come in and ask, and they change the plan, or as some other.
How can there be trees in any of those places? The wire's gonna go over the road and then over an area that's graded.
There's a little island of trees that were left behind that the road didn't need to take down, and they're in the way.
If I'm looking at this plan, the pole is right on the road, and this pole is on the area that's graded. So there can't be anything in the
Right,
middle
the
of it that
trees
wasn't
are-
already approved.
That grayed out section, that little rise, there are trees in the way there.
Between these two poles.
Yeah.
Did they set that pole?
The pole there exists currently, that one doesn't.
Is this because of rerouting the road, because of the change in the configuration of the array, because of the...
Right,
just
and
make that
technically
road-
the original limit of work, those trees could have come down and would have and all that. And they're buffer, they're not BVW. And so it's just a matter of how would you like me to handle this one? Asking to do something formal, or we could do something more informal.
Then put the pole on the other side of the road. It'll jump over to here and then over to there.
Yeah, and we walked around and did that, and to do that, you actually have to end up causing much more disturbance by putting out guidelines and actually disturbing.
Yeah, but
some-
guidelines are disturbed once and then they never get touched again.
Right. But that would be in some of the area that was drained when the beaver dam came down. According to the way he's standing out there running his arms, trying to figure out his angles, and you would expect that to be in the wetland.
I guess I disagree.
So then, would you like an amendment to the order kind of request, that kind of paperwork? And actually have him come in and present his
How many trees are we talking about?
3, maybe 4.
Have them come.
Yeah, have them come in.
I guess if anything, my frustration is that if this was on the plan, if this is outside the limit of work, then that means that the plan we got wasn't right.
No, this is a new change. This is, he just sketched some stuff for me today, so I could bring in and show you something.
No, let me start over. If that pole was on the original plan, then it's what we approved. If that pole,
It's not on the original plan, right?
well, then it's not approved.
All right, so then, so field change or
Well, I guess at this point, I don't understand why they can't go on the other side of the road.
amendment? All right, we'll do the formal process. Got it.
I mean, I guess the argument would be that we were literally talking about square feet, not hundreds of square feet. We're talking about square feet to get to a
Literal square,
point, literal square feet to get to a point where the project wasn't applicable. Remember, by juking the road, they were able to.
Right, but there's no soil disturbance involved. It's just cut it in its aerial surface.
I understand, but then they're going to have to keep the trees cut from then on,
Right.
which means that all of a sudden now becomes inside the area of disturbance.
In the buffer zone, yes.
So if it wasn't on the original plan, then they need to come talk to us about it.
Right. And so, as Bonnie said, she's got to go to sleep. So I will have them do it formally as opposed to we doing it informally. So.
And probably the best way is they can put some stakes out there and take some photos looking down the road, and we can understand what they were talking about.
Okay. The other question I've got for you is that I got back quotes regarding the arsenic in the water chestnut. Solitude said they'd do it for us for $600, and they would sample 6 plants. Lori
Nearing.
yes, reached out to a contact she had who said that they could get a lab to do 1 plant for $100. So the numbers are good. It's just a matter of how many plants would you like sampled?
Well, number one, there are no plans to sample just yet. So
Right.
let's put this on a further discussion when we can actually sit down and talk about it, because it's not a 3-minute discussion.
Fair enough.
Because once we know, then the question is, what are we going to do about it?
Well, right.
So-
Jess, your question about Robert Hood and the digging out there, he's waiting on the Boy Scout Council's approval. and he does have a hole out there, and he's not worried about anybody stepping in it, and it's too far away from the stream, and he's not worried about causing any erosion. I haven't seen the hole.
It's right a couple feet from the bank.
Yeah.
Why did he dig it?
Didn't answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, he really shouldn't be digging.
Well, he
On the
obviously,
bank.
yeah, he stopped
It's
now.
not, it's not his decision.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Please
you
have
know,
them, let's just let them know that they need to just go back in and fill around it.
Okay.
We appreciate the fact that it shouldn't be a problem, but it's a hole next to a stream.
Got it.
Where did he?
I think what he was doing was he was looking for the rock. He was trying to figure out what he would
Oh,
hit.
okay.
He found the rock.
Okay.
But what it means is that if it was getting dark in that area, it's a huge tripping hazard in the middle of the trail.
While you guys are out on your next site visit, if you could swing through Old Town Village, that would be good. They have a big erosion gully behind their dumpster that's helping to run trash into the stream.
Which one's Old Town Village?
The one on the rotary.
After the Tarico trailer? After the Tarico tractor?
Yeah, right in the, the alternative access is going up into the Pepsi and not going to work, but going into your apartment.
Is that Schoolhouse Pond?
Can, yeah.
Wait.
Can you just do it, not now, but send us a little drawing with the indication of
I think I
location?
saw that on near the train window.
Okay, I'll send out a map or something tomorrow,
Yeah.
but they also have some direct drains about, yay big, running straight from their parking lot directly into the stream, Daybrook. And, how you'd like to move forward with that particular issue.
Do we have anything on the project that allowed them to put the parking lot in?
I'm still looking through that one. I don't think I've gotten to it yet. I found other things for that region, but they all have to do with the bottling plant.
Put that on 511.
Oh,
Not 1105, which is when this will end.
Right.
Okay. Very quickly, do you have your field logbook with you? Right. Didn't we get a moleskin one? One of the cool ones? So, so when you go out to these site visits, are you taking photos when you're out on the site visits?
Oh yeah, no, all I do is take pictures.
Okay, and you're storing them. Are they visible for anybody to see on the website, or can we do something like that? Because here's the best part. So the wonderful thing about a field notebook is it says when you were where you were, so that we can say later on. Because it's what happens is 3 months later you say, oh no, on 3/31 I was at X. So, but what I would love to see is if you're taking all those pictures and
We had this discussion a while ago with Rosewood, because I started doing that and sending pictures to Cindy, and we got into a conundrum of because I take the pictures, that makes them public record, but because the landowners haven't granted permission for sharing of the photography, it gets into one of these gray legal zones, so we stopped doing that.
According to Cindy?
No, I think it was Mark who raised the idea. Because we were going with, well, it's a public file on a public project and public, it's not like, if you want to see the pictures, you can come see them. But going the extra step and sharing them raised some flags on Mark's part. And we said, you know what?
What's right?
What's
Rick Russell. Okay.
if I'm recalling this right, because we were talking about where the sewage line was. And so we just said, yeah, he's got a point, and we stopped doing that.
All right. So I guess what I want to hear, I appreciate Mark's conservative thought process. What I'd like to hear is what Robert thinks about it, because if we're taking all those pictures, this is a pure demonstration of what's happening out on the sites, and anybody can look, and it shows that we're doing what we're supposed to do.
And it's actually a record.
It's a
record of
day-to-day
what-
record of
yeah.
what's going on. So, two things came up during the meeting. Number one, please next time, make sure that you have all the plans that we're going to discuss loaded on the machine, loaded on the laptop, so that...
Well, and this gets to the comment that Mark was making, that I don't get them all electronically necessarily.
So if we get, who's sending drawings to you that aren't electronic?
Oh, like for instance, Kyle doesn't send them
Email.
often.
I would ask them for them so we can
Nick
have them for the
sends
meeting.
all the time.
I would ask them for them so we can have them for the meeting, so we can put them up on the screen like we did. Or they need to bring them with them like they did.
Fair enough. Well, and the point that Mark was making was that currently to formally make an electronic submission part of a submission package, can I just edit the workbook?
Toolkit.
Thank you. And you guys can say, hey, great, good job, and that's enough? Or does this need to go a step beyond that?
That there is no step beyond that. The toolkit is just a very simple, this is what people should see.
We just have
And-
been redoing the CPC application process, and we just decided we wanted electronic submissions.
Okay.
So,
And the other thing we can do in the toolkit is go back over this so that we say to folks, you know, you need to submit this to us first before the meeting, because if they submit the wrong paperwork to the abutters, then there probably shouldn't be a hearing.
All right.
So right now, we continued DPW with the cross-country water main. We continued Kennard.
that's just for signing.
No, Kennard.
Oh,
Oak Ridge.
Kennard, okay.
Canny, we're signing to. We are walking Giamo's at the same time as Kennard's. I don't know, I didn't mark that on here. 5, 6. And we've continued this. So this last one, Solar 2. So the primary thing to ask about for Solar 2 is to reach out, please, to Mr. Wetzel and ask him if he can make a recommendation of a A&E firm in the area that does, an engineering firm in the area that does biology at the same time.
BSC group.
BSC group would be great, actually. So we can ask him if he has any opportunities. And then
We don't have a conflict of interest with Lee anymore.
was she BSC or was I'm thinking who's Epsilon? Epsilon was Andrea.
Yeah.
Right. I just mixed those two up in my head. Sorry.
Would Epsilon be a conflict of interest?
No, Epsilon's long gone.
Yeah.
Andrea was on the commission 12 years ago, so yeah, she's probably okay.
But Epsilon is still in business.
No, I'm sure they are. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
My only intention of going to the chairman, going to the head of the DPW to ask if he had a recommendation was it's as close as we can to getting a third party referencing a third party. So if Mark comes in and says, yeah, I've had great luck with, Fred's Lawn and Garden, then that's a good company for us to call, and unless Cal and Kyle have a big problem with it.
We did that in Natick a while ago. The way we set that up was as 3 bids, and then we picked the one we liked, and then the consultant's fee, as long as it didn't set off any red flags, they just were like, all right, great. And that was brought to us by the applicant in that case.
Here's a great idea. Even though we didn't say this in front of the applicant, they can't complain. They shouldn't complain if we reach out to Epsilon, BSC, and whoever Mark recommends, and get 3 bids from those 3 companies to review this paperwork. Doesn't get any more fair than that.
Good choice.
There you go.
Yep.
So BSC would be best person to reach would be Lee Curtis. I don't know if you.
I bumped into her one time in the hallway.
I think she shows up on their website as people who work here. So I don't know. Is Andrea still over at Epsilon?
No, she's Verizon.
Oh my glory! Off camera. All right, so
Well, who does Crossman work for?
his own, right?
Is he?
His
Did he used to be Epsilon?
I don't know. No, I thought he was. What was the one that began with an O?
Moving along. Late hour.
Okay.
You guys digress.
Okay. So we have to go begging at town meeting, which I absolutely detest, but we get to do that. Goals and objectives, we're just going to have to do at a later date. Field inspection report. Are they all cleaned up over at Pingree? Sorry, not Pingree, the other one. Willows. The Willows.
I have not been out there. I did the other 3 today. I didn't do Willows.
Okay. Please go to Willows tomorrow and just see, because we didn't have a lot of rain this week.
No, and the other sites have held up very well. All the patch jobs that went in are doing what they should, and things are, I'm content.
How are they doing at Solar One?
Moving right along. I have an issue with Kyle's river choice again, because I did go out there and found water flowing in that stream. It looks like that used to be a beaver pond.
This is at the toe of the slope.
Yeah. And so, I had a conversation with Kyle, we're still in a drought. The snowmelt ended. We've got a stream channel here with flowing water. I think
remember they were talking about Willowbrook today during that meeting? The fella, Neil Angus, was talking about Willowbrook.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's been flowing in there.
Yeah.
So.
But, there's a stream channel, like with banks and things. And so, I don't know, we'll see if that plays out. But other than that, they sent over the cement specs and the seed mix that was asked for in the RDA. We're working through that, and the erosion control fabric that they're using at the culvert, they are going to change because it didn't meet the order conditions. So we've got a couple of back and forth on the tech specs that are going on over there. For the crossing and the solar panels, at this point, they're just putting them in. It's good soil. They're doing very little digging. It's just drive them and then hooking them up. I think all the racks are up at this point.
They weren't twisting. I don't remember what they were. They just driving the piles in?
The pile did.
Yeah.
What I did. It's a tremendous, great machine.
Yeah, it's a
No,
beautiful thing.
I'm familiar. I prefer the screw type because they have uplift capacity as well.
And these are engineered.
So. Okay.
We'd asked about solitude and reconciling the use of Clipper.
Brought it up. They acknowledged that, and I said, "All right, so we need an opinion from DEP," and I haven't gotten one. But Bria did go out and do the initial. Bria Zertak. Bria went out and did the initial survey and had a look, and found a lot at the bottom of F Pond, and
A lot of what?
just material, a lot of vegetation. It was thicker than they expected.
Yeah.
So they did a quick scan of
Yeah,
the ponds?
Yeah, they spent a day up till about 2 boating with 3 ponds and just getting eyes on, taking some
Lay of
pictures.
the land.
Do they have ideas of treatment days?
Not yet. And we're still working out the treatment detail on that.
So you don't want to hold that up, but you want to expedite that as much as possible.
When are they planning to do their first work?
I don't know yet. They're probably working through whether or not they're going to use the clipper. And Bria only did that initial survey. I want to say that was last Wednesday. I can probably look in there and find out. But yeah, that's the status of that. And that's when I talked to her about the arsenic. And so she looked into that for me after that.
All right.
Just one quick question. Did she mention any herbicide that's actually not off registration, going off registration? There's a big one like Reward, or it's not Reward, it's another big one that.
Sonar?
No.
I'm not following you.
No. There's a very common herbicide that's not being used anymore because it's going off of registration. They're no longer. The EPA has no longer registered it.
I got nothing. I wouldn't know one way or the other.
And it's one of the big ones.
If you can
So
send me a hint, I can follow up on it. But
So we got a
that's
list
why
of what they can use or what they're planning to use. Are you worried that they're going to use something they didn't talk about?
That's what I'm worried about.
People do that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if one goes off, right, they replace it with something else. And that's probably why they wanted to replace with Clipper.
Interesting.
I just was curious if she had mentioned something.
Nothing.
Okay.
All right. Why don't we, any updates from you?
No, we have to address the issue with courses.
Mm-hmm.
So. And then also you're gonna be away, or your wife's away, May 11th.
Yeah, I can't make the 11th.
So, all right. So, the course one, I'm really stuck on this one. So, number one, whenever I do this, I always go back to my own experience, and companies don't pay for this stuff, and so I don't really know how to direct that.
Well, did you see Kevin's email?
I did see Kevin's email, and what it reminded me of is that companies don't do that, and so I guess that's my biggest problem with it. And I saw, please stop doing that. And I saw Robert's email, and so I'm stuck. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do. And the other thought process that had come up was that take the class, but like you said, there's no grade after the end of it.
No, it's a certificate.
Right.
Right.
So it's attendance.
Yeah.
So I'm very uncomfortable with it. I don't know what your feelings are, Jess.
It's just the timing is not good because we just got the position moved to full time, and this is I think we're pushing the bounds of money. I'm just feeling very fiscally conservative.
Do you have thoughts, George? On this specifically?
Yeah, I agree with Jess. Yeah. I think it's too much, right at the start.
Bonnie, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have thoughts?
I'm so quiet usually, right? No, I go, I'm back and forth. I think that, yes, companies do pay for classes, but not during the day, during work hours. It's sort of like on your own time at night. And they usually pay for courses post, completion, like with a grade like you mentioned or certificate. So I wouldn't, I think that's doable. But I think courses during the day, taking time out of work is not really the best strategy.
Well, I think it's definitely possible to, manage it as a PTO issue, for time out during the day. I guess that's the problem. I guess that's the biggest thing. So, you were, if I remember, you were going to make a map of all the classes because that one that we had was hard to follow.
Yeah, I was going to do that. Didn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless, no, nothing I did.
All right. If we keep what we have on the agenda for our next meeting and nothing else adds, right? So if someone comes in after tomorrow, they end up on the meeting of the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. So we add no more people. It means that we have 3 continuances. So we can be done even if they each get a half an hour. We're done at 8:30. And so at 8:30, we can put in and spend the rest of the time on goals and objectives for the administrator position.
But Brian's not, you can't be here for that meeting?
You won't be here on the 11th.
I mean, you can still come up with goals and objectives. I just won't contribute, obviously.
Well, since luckily you have office time, why don't you make a list of goals and objectives that we can discuss during the meeting? And at the same time, please put together, map out what that class structure looked like. And the only thing that I'm willing to add to that meeting is Solar One's poll discussion.
Add on what?
The Solar One poll discussion. We can do the Ukrainian discussion on the 25th. All right. If there are no other updates, we are long past our time. I would accept a motion to
So moved.
So, wait a minute, adjourn or,
Adjourn.
oh, can I just add one more thing?
Well, nobody seconded it yet.
Yeah, I didn't second.
Why don't you second, and I'll let you in for discussion. Go ahead, second it.
Second it?
Done.
What? What, wait a minute?
No, you seconded it, that's fine, so any discussion? Go ahead.
Any discussion? Yes. So there's a property at the corner of Groton, Harvard Road and Sandy Pond Road. The dirt pile is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's, it's very close to Fletcher's Pond.
Wait, where's
Wait a
this?
minute, You
It's the
mean
corner house.
Richard Koch's house?
Is that the one with all the trucks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, big dirt pile that continues to grow. And it's very close. I don't know, it's one of those, do you start having a discussion, or do you just leave it be?
Actually, the answer would be, do you continue a discussion? Because we've had discussions with Richard over the years with regard to that piece of property. So what he has done over the years is he's let that dirt pile mound up, and then it's grassed over. If you go on the property, you see that you have the dirt, and then you have a road that does like this, path around, and then the bank. And it was a pet issue of a previous commissioner, and I spent a morning there talking to Richard, and there's no issue. Promise.
Well, is it new dirt though? Is it growing?
New dirt.
It's new dirt.
Yeah, it's new dirt.
So maybe that's something, Brian, you could take a look at,
It's new dirt.
to see how stable it is, take some photos.
What's the address?
So it's right across from the new garage, or the old garage. So you know where Groton Harvard crosses Central Ave?
Yeah.
So there are four corners. You have the gym on the front right corner. You have the
Kitty corner to the gym.
Can I do it? You have the gym on the
Use
front
kitty
right
corner.
corner. You have the gym on the right corner. You have the new garage on the far right corner, and Mr. Koch's property is in the far left corner.
Or kitty corner to the gym.
It's kitty corner to the
The
gym.
only one with a large blue pile on it.
We have a motion on the table to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.